Okay. Previously in Eridon. You all spent a night. Whoa. Yeah, no, that's right. You all spent it. I thought I didn't update this for a second. You all spent a night, a final night amongst the citizens of Forest Hollow at Braves Respite before gearing up to head to the moot between elves and Villian, beast folk and bird folk and the like. And you brought a few Nora mercenaries along for the ride, with Korik collecting you via his transport via plants spell. And he took you via one of the only now living trees in the Barrens. He brought you to the Druidic Citadel, where you all fought and defeated Sarzarin, the Rot Prince. You conversated with various Mooncrest elves and Billion allies, friends, and family, who are, for the first time, all gathered here together at the Citadel for this moot. Unique blend of people that had never encountered each other before. You met the monarchs at the very top, who are engaged in moot discussions, talking through ways forward in the war, discussing resources, and the Beast King Mordecai, via Aulathir, had just granted you the opportunity for promotions into formal positions in the newly formed United Kin Army. So now we pick back up in the afternoon of Sundas, 15th of Evening Star, as you carefully evaluate and select a beautiful golden soul crest, a gift from Aulathir, presented by the Beast King. Now, you have had the chance to make your selection. Would you all announce which you have chosen?
I'll go first, Russ. I can't talk. I may change my mind if I don't. I think the crest of the tactician speaks to me.
Then it is yours.
Oh, I'll go next. I will take the crest of the Magus.
He nods in acknowledgement.
And the Paragon calls to me.
Indeed. Allows you to
And
take it.
I will take the crest of Bravura.
Bravura. Looks to roulette last.
I'll take the crest of the Dragoon from the Dragon. Seems fitting over here.
Very well. Very well. Now, in order to activate the magic of the crests and bind their essence to your own, please repeat the following phrases after me. With earnest pride, I bear this crest.
Oh, all of us together at the same time.
With
earnest
Earnest
pride, I
pride.
bear this crest.
And invoke great Alathir's name.
And
invoke
great
Alathir.
Taking up the eternal quest.
Taking up the
eternal
eternal
quest.
To shepherd the golden flame.
To shepherd
the golden flame.
As you conclude this magical phrase, you can feel the warmth of the crest ignite, and out of your hands, bursting into brilliant golden flame that becomes translucent and swirls around your being, and is then drawn into your chests. The breaths you take become instinctively hot, not painfully so, but energy suffuses your very soul and grants you the boons of the souls that once wielded capabilities you don't have. Slowly, this warmth subsides, but if you focus, you can still feel it lingering deep in your chest. Now, I am proud to announce the members of the Forsaken Wynds as the new Paragon, Bravura, Dragoon, Magus, and Tactician of the newly formed United Kin army. Now, with that business resolved, let us begin addressing some specifics. Due to the Four Winds' recent clash with Durastian forces, we will need to move with haste to claim the town as a staging ground for our entrance into the Creation War theater. Would you agree, General Mathros? Telperian's father steps forward and says, "Yes, we are still in the early stages of planning for future missions, but taking the surprisingly important town of Force Hollow is now a priority. This location provides a stable source of reinforcements and resupply feeding through the Emerald, something Durastian forces in Creation will not be able to counteract. Forsaken Winds, we'll soon need to discuss your preference for how we might utilize your capabilities in the war effort at large. But I would ask directly that you be part of this taking back of Forest Hollow. You need to learn what it is to command troops, so that you understand what it is they do for all of us when you're tackling other matters. And aside from your recent involvement expediting our time frame, I suspect the Nora mercenaries that you brought along with you and the citizens of the town may be eager to take their town back." Tinufail also will say, "Assuming Durastian forces retreated to Elandris in the aftermath of the recent conflict in Force Hollow, Herald Keatra, would your tactician be able to estimate a timetable for us?" And Salwet says, 2 weeks. Beast King, "Indeed. We may not be able to fully outfit legions of our own to Forest Hollow that quickly, but perhaps we can send the few contingents that are ready to move of the Terracor, Oracor, and Selethar to fend off any initial aggression by Durast. Perhaps those of the Noras may willingly fight alongside us and assemble a small unit of their own. And perhaps even the wildlife that seem to flock to roam the Mythiline side may lend their aid as well. Now, let us discuss course of action." And they will, I'm not showing it here on the map, but they will pull out a large map and slide it over a large stone table made available here, just so that we can all see the map. And unless there's input from you guys, we can sort of talk through what at least the immediate intent is. But for you all, it seems there's some interest in you journeying with the Selethar, Terracor, and Oracor back to Force Hollow once more to protect it, defend it from likely some version of aggression from Durast. Assuming they care about Force Hollow, they might stage a larger force to take it back out of pride, if anything. And the Moot leaders are interested in defending its location, defeating that force, so that they can establish themselves in Creatia. Would you all be willing to venture into a warfare excursion in the near future in 2 weeks' time for that?
Aye.
Okay.
I can do push-ups for 2 weeks.
Well, the direction will be given. Yeah, what do you got, Jiri?
Well, Jerry would say, would speak up, and he'd say, "Well, one thing that we did learn when we were in Forest Hollow was about an individual that is of high rank, modestly high rank in the Durastan army, and we had thought about potentially infiltrating the neighboring city of, I think it was Elandris." Taking up his form and pretending to be him to see if we can cause some mischief in enemy territory. Is that something we still want to do or think about?
If you're like a bit out of character, I know on the letter there was like a time frame for like when he was supposed to go there. Do we remember what that time frame was?
It was end of the month, so a little more than 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks maybe.
Jiri, if we want, not scratching that off the table, but we could do that either before or after this 2 week return from for these Durastians. I don't know. It's like if we do something like that in advance, we could lessen lessen the force that comes back to Force Hollow. If we wait until after, it could be a kind of final nail in the coffin after we rebut them this for the third time out of Force Hollow. Because if we send them back with their tails between their legs again, and then we show up as this, I don't know, high-ranking official, it could be enough cracks in the armor that we really take them out of Elandris that time.
Toby will give Jiri a nudge to just kind of display what he means and show how good of a job Jiri can do at impersonating.
Oh yeah, easy. And then I'll use disguise self to turn into the Thane. I think his name was
Thane
the
Gaspard.
Thane.
Yep.
And I'll say something in his like wimpy high voice and be like, "Ooh, I would hate to show up to Elandris without being accompanied by a large contingency of Durastian soldiers in tow, secret soldiers maybe that we could use to take over the city."
Some startled looks as you use illusion magic in their presence of monarchs, but the Beast King can't help but you see a sly curl of a smile out of amusement. Very well. Illusion magic can certainly work its way into their midst and give us benefit of one kind, but we will still need a military force. Did you say you had a timetable? Is there some letter you got this from?
That's the letter we gave to Sawet.
Ah, very well. Yes, my king. I have had a chance to peruse it, and it does seem tight, our timetable. But as the Four Winds suggest, it is possible they could involve themselves before or maybe after.
Or third option, Durin, if we're looking to lay some sort of trap, and Jiri as Thane is kind of standing at the gates of Forest Hollow by himself, the rest of us hiding. I don't know, leading them to a specific spot in the city. We've and to like Mordecai and Sawet, we've done all sorts of things like this, just kind of trapping people. Jiri puts on a good show in and out of fights.
To be clear, though, this letter is an invitation for the Thane to show up at the royal house of Elandris. It does not imply that they will be heading to Forest Hollow.
He would have left from Force Hollow.
Oh yeah, the Thane was at Forest Hollow, and I'm assuming the folks in Elandris, if they sent the letter to the Thane in Forest Hollow, they knew the Thane was in Forest Hollow. So I don't know. Maybe they expect him. I don't know.
Yes.
One thing of importance is there was specifically one individual who escaped, an assassin, whose blade, Jerry, I believe you hold.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
And it's of a peculiar metal. I actually was hoping Minerva could analyze it, and anyone here who wants to. I am not sure if the assassin saw the Thane fall or not. It would be foolish if that assassin reported the Thane fell and then we showed up with the Thane in tow. But if that assassin did not, then maybe my allies can help me remember when that assassin exited the scene, because that would be important.
I think he left before we killed the Thane.
Leaped out of the building before we.
Yeah, well, I was right next to him. He jumped right out that window, and then I retreated back down and helped you guys take out that nerdy little fucker.
If any magic could be used by anyone to track down that assassin, we would have some important insight into where the information of our infiltration was sent to. If it's in Elandris, that gives us insight into that chain of their command.
Ooh, did anybody like stab him and we have his blood dried up on our blades?
We have his knife.
I could look in on him. How many days has it been? Not that prevents me, but trying to remember our
Probably like
target.
less than 4, right?
3 or 4 days, I think. Oh no, because we did the woodworm thing too. So
Been 3 or 4 days, yeah.
So I could attempt to see where
Roughly.
he ran off to.
Could you do that now?
I could.
Any and all input we can gather will be beneficial. We do have numerous scouts in the form of various avian varieties that have made their way into Elandris, Athros, even Mersenia. It is fairly easy for us to case locations and get layout of troops and patterns. That does not avail us of all advantages, but we have one advantage of some knowledge. Olandris is currently led by 2 Durastian-placed individuals. They are referred to as Count Li and Contessa May. They seem to be some version of spellcasters to a degree. They are often robed, shrouded with hoods, and always flanked by many knights.
Has the council been able to infer Durast's next objective? Obviously, they've seized hold of Creatia. Have they been eyeing the Emerin? Or are they going to shore up and try for Balladonia?
Your father, Mathros, will speak up and say, "We've established many encampments of scouts along the northern edge of the Emerin. It does not appear that they are gathering in any sense for an onslaught, although the one time they did attack us was not even from nearby boundaries. It was via magical portal magic from Ostennis directly. We have not," and it looks to the rest of everyone and actually to his wife, your mother, and the Aranil herself says, "In our discussions before you've arrived here, that has perhaps been the biggest mystery on our tongues. We cannot seem to puzzle out what Durast seeks out of all of this. Creatia is in all senses a weaker nation, perhaps similarly strong in its economy, but nowhere nearly as potent militaristically. The Mira River and the Bridge of Mira were the greatest boons Creatia had to a defense. The Glass God and the Creation Knights were a legitimate force, but Durast has the numbers, tenfold. We cannot find out why Creatia was taken. King Zavar has ambitions and strategies that are eluding our ability to grasp.
Have any attempts at messengers, any parlay, any discourse been attempted
With
Durast?
not on our part. We are gathering resources, allies. This moot is the defining moment from where we can perhaps begin to reach out.
I wonder if Alaya has an idea. Because if it's not military might or resources, maybe she knows of a secret Creatia holds or some power or some reason Zavar would be interested that she obviously wouldn't wish to share easily, but the moot here, the new union, will probably be something that will shake her and cause for her to pay attention finally. She's likely fighting for her life and whatever small bands of resistance are left, so his first contact with her been attempted?
Indeed, due to Tobirama's creation of several spell scrolls alongside Mirage, we have made contact briefly in bursts, mostly to no tangible aid. But Alaya remains at her dusk's side, safe, supposedly, but we do not have a location for her. It is my own personal theory that she would not stray far from Ostennis. I have met the woman but once, and she is fiercely loyal to that place.
I wonder then if, obviously we need Force Hollow and Elandris as a starting point, but I wonder if she would have input on where in the country she needs. Like, do we stem the flow in Ostennis before looking at Aetheros and Marcenia? She would have input on that, I'm sure, once something tangible has been obtained.
Atheros is a particularly unique situation as well. By far, even more so than the capital itself, Atheros is the most defendable location, still under siege after a month and a half to 2 months of warfare ongoing. They will run out of food stores in the coming months, but they have mounted resistance and Durast has been unable to take it. It is due to our scouting, it is understood that one of Durast's talons commands one branch of the assault from Mercenia. Olandris gives aid from the east as well, so taking Olandris would dramatically alter the goings-on of the siege in Atheros. But on the other hand, Mercenia could prove just as valuable to disrupt the siege. For if we disrupt the siege and can help them defend themselves, perhaps we gain additional contingents of allies.
Which talent?
It is suspected that the Talon Kota Naver, the longest reigning Talon of the four in Zavar's employ, a human that is masterful in the art of the sword.
He's the only talent we did not yet see then.
Perhaps.
What do we know of Zavar?
Zavar came into power some 2.5, maybe 3 decades ago in Daenor, supplanting the previous king, Matthias Armand, a king that was tough in his own right, but earned the respect, not the fear, of his citizens. Zavar is ruthless. It is claimed that he has tamed the entire northwest coast of its wyverns, and they have been utilized in his forces for as long as he has been in power. Wyvern riders are absolutely present in the creation forces as well. In Toby Rama, you would know that in addition to Wraithwatch Reavers and Wraithwatch Deadeyes, another member of the Wraithwatch are definitely the Wyvern Riders. High-ranking, skillful units.
Do we have any allies who are undercover among the Duras ranks who are receiving information from constantly? How are we getting our information?
Via the skies, Villian. We have many druids who can and Villian who can shapeshift into ravens, sparrows, silverlarks, various avian varieties. They are able to peruse and scout these locations, but they are not adept at actually infiltrating, for if they leave their forms, they would surely stick out like sore thumbs. That is where the bulk of our information and intel comes from at this time.
Has any word been received from, or have you all sent any word towards Auroras or the people of Belladonna at large?
Harold Keatra, the Heron Aarakocra, will excitedly say, It is so strange, isn't it? That they seem so prepared, militaries raised and ready to march, and they have not moved. Philadonia seems surprisingly reluctant to join the fray, when they could surely decisively crown the winner. Delightful. It is strange. Philadonia has outfitted legions and legions of Bright Guard, and they stand around Aurorus, ready, and have not moved. It is clear they are very aware of the goings-on of the West, but have not engaged, have not sent word. They are seemingly, in this one's opinion, waiting to see where the tides turn.
So do we risk the animus if we show our hand and start fighting, and then they come in from behind while we defend Croatia, or do they see our resistance and...
No, I don't think they wouldn't dirty their hands till one side was dead, and they're going to be counting on one of us to weaken the other one enough, and maybe just sit over there on their laurels and not do anything the entire time.
It is my suspicion as well, Miss Tinkerton.
Could I kind of maybe slink to the back, just kind of like stand at the back of us five, and change from paying attention to the conversation and start paying attention to our surroundings, and maybe rely on just earshot to pick up on conversation, but focus on paying attention to our surroundings.
Sure, go ahead and give me a perception check. And you've got your shield, so I think that gives you advantage.
I will wander back kind of with Toby after my dismissive comment about Belladonians, keeping an eye out for Moby 4 if he's come back.
Yeah, Moby 4 you can definitely, I think, even as that familiar, you generally know the patterns you want to send it on.
Yeah.
So you know where to look, and you can sort of indicate that you want him to head back your way. Toby Rama, you have a very good vantage point from up here, especially with the reduction of the cloud, the fog covering this area, and the ash no longer drifting from the treetop above you, filling the entire forest, or at least a swath of it. You can see for miles and miles and miles and miles over the tops of dead trees. Even with the 27, nothing immediately catches your notice of concern. You can just see all the encampments of Villian and elves, people going about their business, sharpening weapons, carrying crates, setting up different camps. Even with 27, nothing necessarily. I will say, you also aren't sure whether your moot is the focus of anyone's attention. It's true that Durastine forces assaulted the Ithawinge and Nimberthil, but they might not have any idea of the Villian's involvement to this degree. They might not have any way to know that this union is happening.
Because part of the assault or the infiltration of the Ithawinge was convincing Evzarin, like, oh, let's turn together against the Villians. So, like, hopefully them turning around and joining and having a big council with the Villian is not on their mind. But I will try and kind of swap and just focus on actively paying attention to surroundings and passively listening to conversation.
Okay.
Mordecai, I have a question. Look, what of your other seneschal and the core of the sea?
I should make it aware that Lord Severin, the Sultan of Nor Azel, will not be joining us. Nor will he conscript the scale folk of the south into a war he feels he and his people gain little benefit from, and that is his right, frankly. Although we have exchanged impassioned words on the matter, I claim no control over his freedom, and he's welcome to rule his kingdom as he sees fit. However, at my request, he will provide a fleet of tidebreaker ships, should we have need for resupply along the western Jalen coast in the future of our war efforts in Croatia.
Just something to think about. Perhaps we need to know a little bit more about our enemy prior to knowing how to defeat them. If we don't fully know their motives, how can we truly know how to take back what's truly ours?
Wise counsel indeed, Mithaline, to Nufael.
And why
Telperian's mother says.
Why waste the resources if we don't even know fully why they're moving forward?
I advised the same just this morning. Although, right now it is somewhat prevalent that we, so to speak, stop the bleeding. Ostenis' people are in peril. Croatia's people are in peril. The queen, who has been an aid to both Chimeras and passively to the Ithilwinge as well, has been removed from her throne. It is our current belief that we should rush to Croatia's aid, but I agree wholeheartedly that before we consider moving into Durast proper, that we do have a better sense of why is this war happening? What is Zavar's goals? We cannot venture into their lands ill-equipped with information.
And there's no way to solve this conflict peacefully? I mean, the Durastians, although misguided, are still living beings as well. Do they deserve to lose their lives, although they're misguided? We can't contact their leader directly.
We have not tried. This is the first union. This is the first formal day of union of this United Kin army. We will certainly reach out to Olandris, Athros, Mersenia, Ostenis, Daenor directly. It will take time for messages to be delivered, and it will take further time for responses to be considered and given back to us, and perhaps they are not what we wish to hear. We can't afford inaction in that time waiting.
Does Duras have any, ambassadors or emissaries that we can talk to?
I'm sure several. Most notably, probably in Ostenis, though it sounds like if the Count and Contessa at Olandris are hosting some sort of regent meeting of their own at the end of the month and invited the Thane that was occupying Forest Hollow, perhaps emissaries will be there that can be interacted with.
Good night. Father, how are your wounds from the battle in the Nimbrithil?
Go ahead and make a medicine check real quick.
Ooh, 18.
You can tell with his very formal regalia on, it's well hidden, and he does have his shield adorned right now, if only for presentation, but you do notice the rigidness of the way he's holding his arm, and you can tell that beneath his formal wear, it's definitely still bandaged. So you're not sure of exactly, but he dismisses it and says, "Recovering very well, son, thank you." But you just, through your medicine checks, suspect he's maybe brushing off how severe it is.
But recovering all the same from invaders sent into our capital city with no declaration of war, no request for demand of anything. I think these Durastians will use any subversive, wicked means to achieve whatever they're seeking, and I would trust no words from any of the diplomats. They took Ostenis like it was nothing.
To Rome's point, I think one opportunity we have here, all of their attacks so far have been, yes, underhanded, have been manipulative and secretive and sly and through magical back doors. We know they're coming for Forest Hollow. And I think this is an opportunity, Rome, to your point, we show them how we, gesturing to everyone here, the United Kin Army fights a war. we're not going to do anything underhanded. We will fight if fought against, but we'll try and minimize casualties. We're not going to go out and aimlessly and needlessly slay these soldiers who are just being given orders to run headlong into someone else's sword. We can make it a point to at least show the soldiers on their side that we're not going to fight the same way that Durast is fighting. We're going to defend ourselves. We're going to defend Forest Hollow, but we're not just going to go willy-nilly swinging swords and sabers.
Oh, I agree, Roulette. Which means we need to start taking prisoners and not execute them. So we're gonna need some place to store these prisoners. Is there some place we can send prisoners once we capture them?
Certainly, on a case-by-case basis, wherever the war theater finds itself, we can make available prison encampments.
I also hesitate to recommend that the Union here has an element of surprise on our hands.
Indeed.
So whatever communications get sent to diplomats or kings of Ar, who are those from? Certainly not the union of these two groups, which he would never expect. Certainly not from the elves, who he thinks are going to hide in their home and do nothing. Mordecai is very far. Queen Elia may be someone of import. If she was able to show Zavar that she's taken some of her cities back, he would certainly listen to her.
Beast King Mordecai gives you a curious look and asks whether or not we have Elia at our side.
We could falsely fly the creation flag at our front.
I think we would have her at our side if we started taking her cities back for her.
Perhaps, maybe a tall tale to expect her to cross Creatia to our cause. I don't know what circumstances she finds herself in.
I was picturing us meeting her halfway.
That might be a meet in the middle kind of thing.
If only she was here. Toby, any way to communicate?
Certainly, and we've certainly set them up with the means to do so as well. But I mean, certainly last I heard from Her Majesty, and it sounds the same as since you've last contacted, she is unwilling to leave her home. And so, depending on how stalwart she is there, maybe if we can draw attention eastward, she can achieve something more significant. While Duress' eye is focused on Force Hollow, Elandris, potentially Aphrodite.
I think Toby's point is a good one. Where is Duras going to be looking? If we take back Elandris, best case scenario, we start helping Aetheros, their attention's going to start wandering towards us. What if Ostennis gets taken back? What if there was another direction they had to look at that moment that those things started to happen? What if I don't know what, we don't have the means, but like, if they see us taking these things back and they derive all their power right at us, our victory might be short-lived. I don't think Bellidonia is rushing to our cause at any means, but what if they were given pause to think Bellidonia was going to strike? I agree with Rome, and I wonder too if we couldn't send some people to Daenor in more secretive ways to get intel and plant intel that they aren't as secure as they think they are.
Ooh, maybe that's part of our disguising ourselves as the Thane. That he comes back with secret knowledge that there's going to be an invasion, like in a far-off area.
Prepared to commit itself.
Yeah.
Not Crit having to think of 4 different leaders and what their perspective is on all of our conversation points.
Quick, name every senator.
Not even one of the leaders, but Sawet will speak up and say, "Are you suggesting you venture into Daenor directly? That would require a month of travel or more."
Oh no, we're pretty fast.
We would need to start in Olandris, where the Thane is expected, but if it went well there, we could perhaps convince them to send us further into Daenor-controlled territory, Duress-controlled territory.
We could
Pass along the
suggest that
message.
we could suggest that the Thane at Little Old Forest Hollow was uniquely positioned to hear rumor of Belladonia's actions across the Arbor Lock. We would have to make sure he had compelling enough information that warrants a journey all the way back to Daenor when he was positioned as far as possible from it.
Oh, like a letter from the Beast King himself, or
Did-
something like that.
Don't tell me, did we didn't by any chance keep his body, did we?
Oh yeah, we did.
We
Alright.
carried it a certain distance. I don't remember how far.
No, I'm pretty sure we were like, I was like, we gotta take this with us.
Wasn't
Because
it like wrapped
was
in a
very
rug
adamant
and
about that.
everything?
Yes, my rug.
I just wonder if we knew why he was sent to Fort Hollow, would give, and also if we're gonna have a friend of ours here impersonate him, it would behoove us to know why he was sent farther away. And then, I mean, I like your idea, Sowet. I think it's obvious we need more intel than what birds are able to observe troops moving.
That's why we brought the body, was so that Toby could talk to it. Toby talks to dead bodies, guys.
I certainly
It
could.
happens.
You have such dark magics, Tinufale asks.
It is of taking back what remnants remain from those who have passed on. There's still something physical that can be drawn out.
Make
after
an
their
insight
soul
check.
has been drawn. Who had said dark magic? I forgot.
My mom.
Tinufale. Her face, you're explaining these things to Tinufale, and you
yeah,
just...
hang on.
Okay.
He's a halfling, duh.
I have 3 points of inspiration. Is that word?
And
You also, not to make you waste an inspiration, I think you also have a point of luck unless you're not attuned to that particular item.
Oh,
But
I am. I'll do that. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for the reminder. I haven't used that. In
didn't want
so
you to
long.
waste a point of inspiration.
Correct.
But
And it is in my inventory as 0, but we've long rested, so I'll just keep it at 0. I will use that to re-roll that. Much better.
25.
Yes.
Aranil Tinufale Loonsong's composure in conversation rivals, maybe even exceeds what you remember of Alaya. A politician through and through, able to keep wild composure, even in light of surprising news. She asked you about this dark magic, and as you describe it in your ability, your connection to it, just by the tone of your words and the way you view it, you see like the subtlest crook of a muscle in her eyebrow, and you get the sense that she's somewhat welcomely surprised by your take on such magic. Almost like she expected that to be a selfish endeavor, but the way you regarded it, she was like,
Derived maybe by something more
interesting.
nefarious or focused in something more nefarious.
or even just the bastardization of a once living being's corpse, and you are not treating as just looting it for information, but rather retaining what's left of it. There's some regard of not impressed, but interested in your take.
Okay.
Very well. It seems further information is certainly needed, especially in regarding the Thane's positioning, why he was positioned in Forest Hollow, perhaps this meeting with the regents at Olandris. And I believe, Sawet, correct me if I'm wrong, that one of the Talons was going to be at this meeting. Perhaps we can gain insight on them, gain advantage on our next encounter with them, should it come to that. I propose the following, should you be open to it. Perhaps this places you in a position once more of some urgency, but suppose you take the day tomorrow to recuperate, and the following day at first light, with a few contingents of Terracor, Oracor, and Selithar, journey back to For's Hollow. Make the trip expeditiously. Form a defense. Train very briefly with the units you will select. Defend For's Hollow. Immediately after the defense of For's Hollow, we can consider how to aggress Olandris. Some of us will prepare a war effort in siege. But perhaps you all, or at least some of you, can infiltrate Olandris. Perhaps to this meeting. Perhaps gain insight or intel or find an opportunity to sabotage their defenses from within, allowing us entry. If within the next month or so of time, we are in control of Olandris, then we are well positioned to have a chance in this war. What do you think?
I mean, Toby looks very eager. If anyone else is looking to him, he's all about reclaiming Force Hollow.
Then I must ask as well. With that settled, what do you envision your long-term involvement in this war effort will look like? Should you find your first clash suits your capabilities, you are more than welcome to prepare alongside the army each step of the way in the coming months, training for perhaps weeks before each clash. Or you could see to various personal pursuits before each step in the war, stepping away from the war effort entirely to see to other things that compellingly strike more value than aiding us directly. We are open to ideas, so consider them in the coming weeks as we begin.
I think this group's taste for battle is strong, but our the interaction with armies is limited. We could certainly try one. I think this group's strength is in its erraticness and what we can achieve when no one expects us to achieve much. So I think we should try a battle, defend Force Hollow, which means a lot to this group. I think we can work on the infiltration of Olandris, specifically from our interactions with the Thane. But after that, I don't think we can make predictions quite yet.
We certainly have ties to other things at play in this landscape of war. So we may need to. I think we're dedicated to Force Hollow and likely, like Telperion says, the Olandris effort. After that, we may need to play it by ear.
But I would also say we're also very invested in Ostennis. Some of our best friends of all time are there, and we'll need to rescue them.
Then rescue them we must, Tenufael says. Very well. A productive meeting. Satisfactory.
We have a question before we part. Obviously, we expedited matters by having engaged with Jurastians and False Hollow. We've accepted these crests and have official positions in this union. What are we or are we not allowed to do? What is our authority?
We engaged perhaps rashly, and so it would be useful to know if there are any guidelines to act under.
I will not. Although myself, Keatara, and Tenufael are leading, so to speak, the nations involved in this union, I will defer to our generals. Verdant Lord General Mathros, Commander Dinah of the Terracor, and High Commander Rillis of the Oracor. And Dinah will step up and say, just let us know what you're gonna do before you do it. That'd be good. Good start. We know you can fight. You showed us in the gauntlet. Communication goes a long way.
Who shall we communicate with? You?
Anyone of
Ideally, you
three?
find yourself alongside someone in the army. A nearby general, commander, lieutenant, anyone who can run things up the chain of command. Send one of your magical messages to one of us. Me, that would work. Your father, Prince Loonsong. Commander Rillis, if the opportunity suits.
That's gonna be tough.
If you find yourself infiltrating Elandris and you're away from people, just use your best judgment on what will fuck us over or not. And put us in questionable positions where we have to expedite time frames and completely derail resource allotment. Just consider.
Is there any notable interactions between the Villian, who are maybe willing to be rough, and the elves, who are more pristine, hearing just crass language thrown about?
Most of the elves you've noticed, not only are they rigid in attendance, as you've interacted in this encampment, you guys have been around the Mooncrest elves, but you were in their environment, in their forest. Only Elvish was spoken. You've seen some Telperian levels of eyebrow raises and cocked heads, and you're realizing that maybe the more educated and formally educated elves know common, but there's many elves here that only speak Elvish, probably. Or various varieties of some Sylvan and maybe some Druidic and other, but you have definitely, especially with your high passive perception and insight, you've definitely picked up on that. Oh, they're a little out of their element surrounded by so many common-speaking people. But they don't show it very well. They're still very regal and graceful and poised in appearance.
That's fine.
Very well. Well, perhaps that is enough for one day. I'm sure you have others to see to and visit with. We have made, I believe, Dinah has made accommodations for you. An encampment has been made for you all over in that direction. And you see sort of a clearing between some of the elves and the beast folk where you can see a series of tents has been made available for you off in the direction he indicates. Is there anything else before we part ways? If not, find Dinah, or Rillis, or Lord Mathros. Perhaps even us if you see us roaming about. I might make myself scarce in the near future, but Tinufael, does home call you back soon? The Mooncrest Council will want to be made aware of everything that has happened here, as only a few of the members were able to attend at this location. I will likely head out in the morning. Very well. Well, the rest of you are all welcome to go about the camp as you please. Explore, conversate. Take a moment to relax. You all have been busy.
We will
Very
make
well.
good use of it.
I conclude this meeting of the United Kin Army and its generals. Kin. And with a nod, he begins to walk past and away.
That was good music for that, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we'll chill out the music vibe now that the sort of formalities are over a little bit. But you guys are welcome to chat with people here on the top of the Citadel that are remaining. You can chat with other various individuals floating around the camp. You can... What are you guys interested in doing?
Critter, this is a shot in like 8-9 months ago.
Right.
We found a letter that was signed M in the Cardigan Mines.
That's correct.
And I know you sent it to me, and I don't remember which method you sent it. I don't remember if it was email or if it was.
Would you like me to read it to you?
He's browsing that OneNote real fast.
If you have it, I just want to.
I do have it. Let me just... Yeah, here we go.
Because this was the one to Balan, right?
It was.
Yeah.
Balan, your request for additional compensation on account of increased risk is denied. I have made sure you have been paid quite well, have I not? I will not take kindly to your demands of renegotiation. If you're unwilling to continue our agreement to let soldiers through for the extremely reasonable sum of 100 gold per contingent, trust me, I am happy to replace you with someone a bit more grateful.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'll post that in the chat here just for...
We found out who M was, though, didn't we?
I didn't think we did.
We were...
Wasn't that person in Austenis that we fought that one time?
We thought it might have been the witch or the...
Yeah.
Is
it not her?
Oni. I don't know that we ever got confirmation.
Is her name the matron?
The matron
The matron is the leader of the guild.
Okay.
Kari the Dusk. Her day job was leader of the Thieves Guild. And she was being impersonated by that.
And we don't think Moira would have been involved with Balan like that. So I don't know that we do know who M is. We have we have the Speaking Stone that shares with them.
Yeah, I have the Sending Stone to M, but I don't... Yeah.
Which we used
You
once.
have the Sending Stone that was in...
Balan's...
No, not even Balan. It was in the pocket of one of the Durastian soldiers.
Oh, you're correct, yes.
And when you reached out, you heard a gravelly reptilian voice that you know to be from Vitria.
A Talon.
One of the Talons.
Oh, I think
upon... Yes, you do. And upon you guys tried it again at some point, and she did not respond. So you do have a Sending Stone that at one point Vitria had.
We don't have to do this in character. Which Talon is going to be in Elandris?
Was not mentioned in the letter to the Thane. It said the Talon will be in attendance.
They said
that was our
Cote
intel.
Nevere is in charge of
Cote Nevere
siege.
is in charge of the Mercenia branch of the siege. So it could be feasible that he would want to check in on the Elandris part of the siege, or a different Talon could be in attendance. All you know is it was mentioned that the Talon will be in attendance. And it was an opportunity granted by the Count and Contessa to Thane Gaspard to, hey, if you think you've basically been doing a good job in Forest Hollow, come prove it. Come tell us about your business. You know, impress someone if you want to get out of that shit job.
Well, that might be a good question to ask the dead body of Thane Gaspard.
We have to check on that assassin, because if that assassin went and told somebody that Forest Hollow is demolished, how is the Thane going to reasonably, if he's left alive, go make a case that I've been doing a great job, promote me out of here?
Have you
Maybe
not
he
heard Jiri spin a tale before?
I know. He escaped, right? And he's got good intel.
He escaped. He's been roughing it in the wilds. Maybe we make Jiri look real decrepit and like he's struggled his whole way there.
We give him letters and we have like the Beast King sign them. Or like your parents tell Piran, they can sign letters about like a secret attack.
I fear we should not.
Oh, I don't think we should do that before the defense of Forest Hollow. I think that should be
after.
After, yeah.
Yeah,
after.
after.
And then, so we want to check in on the Deadeye. I have 2 spell slots available. I would like to use one of them for something else tonight, so I'm willing to use the other one on looking in on someone. Is that who we want to look in on?
Wait, could you also cast your magic to speak with dead bodies as well?
Yes,
or is that not
to speak with the Thane, I can do that today as well. 7 times.
Who killed the Thane?
I think we were all very present in our
that's
appearance.
a good question.
Yeah,
that?
Toby Rama, you've cast the spell enough where you do think, yeah, the party
that.
being around might all count as his killer, not specifically the one who dealt
Also,
the death blow.
I do remember we were all literally surrounding this gentleman when he died. Like he was at the door, and we were just all around him.
And
It
he
was
was doing his
definitely
abjuration word, and we were like, "Stop it! Stop it!"
You
Oh,
said something badass, and then you killed him.
I kept hitting him after he was down.
Yeah.
Roulette was angry and had a right to be.
Whoops.
There was
So I would
angle. Do we have
like to be. Hopefully, someone here has the means to do so in this citadel to like alter my appearance. Because if I try to speak to him, he will be unwilling.
Oh, you need a disguise. Is what you're saying? You would like a disguise?
And I don't know
Oh,
if
I'm-
here you can bestow that on me, but
Oh, can I? Hold on, let me look.
When you cast this spell, it has to be you who asks the questions. It can't be someone else who asks.
Toby.
I think
knows
that
this
is
right
the
off
way
bat,
Speak the Dead works, yes.
But let me double check the word.
It's not a group interrogation, it is the one who's casting the divine magic.
Allowing it to answer the questions you pose.
Gary, those
Jiri,
stars
you
good
hear
enough.
in your mind, I suppose we have come a long way together, since you've made use of my magic that disguises just you. I don't see why we can't grant that to others.
All right, Toby, you're in luck.
Make him a
And he
town.
says we can try it on you as well.
Okay, so when we're ready, we can. What would I be, the Deadeye?
What if you were the Oni, the Talon, and you could be promising him to resurrect him? She was a witch.
Oh,
Ask.
Oh, why not just the king?
I
The
don't,
king
know,
would
I
never-
don't know what he looks like.
The Thane is too low for that.
Yeah, that's
oh.
outlandish.
Does Arknight make sense from Forest Hollow proximity? Sorry.
That was the one we
Does the
haven't seen.
Arknight make sense if we? Because he's been in Forest Hollow before.
Hmm.
Can we just make you like a hooded figure? Make it you dark and spooky?
I was thinking we could take the
Obscure
form of the
thing.
Deadeye and say, like,
We don't know
what
anything about the
information.
Deadeye.
We don't need to. I just need to look like him. I would be asking him questions about what do you need me to relay to the count.
Yeah, but
and
the
countess.
Deadeye was like his bodyguard. He might not like share all the info.
I think one of the Talons, whichever one you feel comfortable impersonating.
Who's that guy that? Oh, we don't know who he's going to go see. Dang it.
Could be Vitria. We've seen
Sure,
Vitria.
yeah, I suppose I can be Vitria.
I guess we've seen her as much as we've seen the Oni matron woman, though.
Vitria in our quarters. We'll relay all of this, but doing this out in the open is.
Yeah, I imagine you're still like there's still discussions happening by somewhat high-ranking individuals in this general space. Are you leaving this space? I imagine you guys are just kind of talking to yourselves right now, but are you intending to go somewhere specific to do any of these activities?
Do any of
Yeah, I
us
don't
want
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't want to take this body out right here.
Yeah.
It's kind of mushy and it's rolled up in this carpet and it's starting to smell really bad.
Let's do that back at our camp in a minute, but does anyone want to speak with one of these NPCs before we leave this room with all of them here?
I am already walking over towards Minerva with my notes out.
Outside of that,
Roulette, as you begin to sort of, and Minerva's not in attendance in this moot gathering, she's further off screen where you guys originally talked to her, but as you start to head in her direction, you actually see Sora, the Panther Tabaxi, run up to you and say, "Oh, good. I had not realized you were joining the conversations up here. I meant to deliver this to you. Well, both
And
of you.
Ferris.
From Den Obsidia. There have been two parcels. One a simple letter, and another a parcel, somewhat larger in composition. Both addressed to you in various ways. Here, and pulls out from a little side pouch a small wrapped brown like box that has some give to it, and a simple letter that is addressed Letty.
Notes are away. Notes are away. Notes are back away. I continue down the stairs though and go. A corner somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome to. Do you want to take a look at what these are?
I will put down the box. Does the box say anything on it?
It just says Ms. Roulette Tinkerton. Rather formal.
I will put that down and step 5 feet away from it. And I will open the letter.
Okay. Let me try and do this correctly as I edit, put in players' journals, roulette, save. I don't know if it'll prompt a refresh to trigger it, but
Does it start with the word B, that starts with letter B?
Yes.
Yes,
so if you have access to that, you can read it. I would say you're welcome to read this aloud. I can read it. If you would prefer us not read it above table, that's okay. All I would request is when you, Roulette, have read this letter, let me know.
Okay. I'm not going to read it right now. Steven won't read it right now. Oh, well, I guess you need to...
Roulette just may, like... I might want to ask a question when you read it in character to see how you would respond to something.
I'll see who it's from, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to be somewhere more comfortable to read this, so I will fold it back up.
Okay, you see it is signed as you open it up. It is signed apostrophe Pa.
Gotcha. And I will go back over to the box. Do I have detect magic? I don't think I do. Can I tell if sure, I'll just cast identify on the box as I'm holding it.
Your identify magic triggers and almost loses purchase since the box itself is not magical. But as you lose the spell slot, you did catch the slightest whiff of something magic contained within.
It will gladly check for any sort of like traps or weird things on the box as I go to open it.
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
I've not made one of those in a while. Did that come through?
Yeah, 31's enough
Oh.
to do it. You inspect it, and as you slip your finger under one of the sort of folded latches of this parcel paper, you see a small rune glow and diminish, allowing your entry at the sense of your finger touch.
Oh.
So it unlatches.
And I will open it.
You open it, and it is a very like made from thick, nice paper, folded in such a way that it can be transported and contain what's within it, but it has some give to it, almost like a cardboard or more like a
Cake box.
Yes, exactly. And you open it, what's in it, and laid upon cotton is a simple, like very nicely trimmed placard, like index card almost, with 2 purple gemstones set into the cloth. And it is, I don't actually have legitimate text for this, but it is a message from the Orakaba saying, God. Ms. Roulette Tinkerton, in the light of Forsaken Wynds' reputation, we've reconsidered your application, and we can see a future working together. If we don't hear back or receive the unfortunate news that you've kept these sink stones to yourself for personal use, we will take that as a regrettable declination of our offer for partnership. Otherwise, use them well.
Immediately I'm casting identify again on the thing that's in there.
The purple gemstones glow, and you find that they are 2 rather potent sources of enchanting, and they are magically linked together in a way that upon enchanting an item around one, the other auto enchants that same functionality into its thing. It is also correct. Sync, not sync. Yes, that's correct. And it is also written further down in the letter that your next enchantment or creation of your choice, they would like one sent to them. So this sync stone will reduce the time of your next enchantment, and as long as you send the other paired one to the Oricaba for their own use, inspection, evaluation, you will have begun a partnership with them to some degree.
Two player questions really quick. One, you have not read my Google Doc?
I have not read your Google Doc.
Okay. Two, have
Yet.
you read the book Foundry Side?
Nope.
Okay, never mind. I immediately I take that back up, and I deep breaths, and I continue off to Minerva, and I pull out my other notes to start talking to her about infusion stuff.
She
I think Roulette's going to
eagerly
explode.
talks through stuff with you.
Wait, what about
Roulette
Foundry
is-
Side? Also,
Have you read the Foundry Side series?
I've only read the first one.
Oh, it's a book 2 thing.
Oh darn, never mind.
Sorry. Anyway, sorry.
No worries. But yeah, Minerva will eagerly, now that you're done with stuffy conversations, and she needed a break from the political scene, she was excited to make this trip for that very reason. She will eagerly spend as long as you want going over theory, craft, of spell, arcane pursuits, whatever your infusion magics are in difference to her wizardly studies. And you can absolutely just engage in that. Just let me know whenever you end up reading that letter.
Will do.
What's everyone else up to?
Toby would have been interested in, I don't remember what the directions were, but figuring out our quarters where we were going to be staying and figuring out if we have a private space.
You are able to head over to the series of encampment tents, and some of them are occupied by various Villian and nearby elves as well, but there is one larger tent suitable for accommodating all of the Forsaken Winds, with adequate, fairly luxurious bedrolls already prepared, small table sides with small breads and wines already set out. Otherwise, general debris and crates and still camp supplies around for suitable war. There's a box of short swords behind one of the elven tents. There's chains and ropes and other goods to the left. So various scenery of encampment.
Whether or not Toby's the first one to get to our tent, I will start clearing a space and then kind of like start pacing because I want everyone to be here, but I'm a little anxious.
Okay. Anyone else got things on mind?
Rome is going to instruct the woodland creatures that she had around her by saying, like, you were there, you were at the moot. It is now your time to go back to the forest and act as allies and agents and spies to deliver us information about where perhaps the Durastians are moving. I expect that even if you all don't return, that you send allies back to let us know about any movements of the Durastians or any of the enemies that we've talked about.
It's so strange having such a wide swath of fauna just in attendance listening to your directions. That squirrels are perched up on their hind legs looking up at you. Snakes have curled around and just like peek their heads upward. All of them seem to be regarding you as an authority, and upon your decree they all skitter and slide into nearby terrain.
Rome, what were those, by the way? I don't think you ever told us.
They're spirits of the forest.
Yeah, but like, where'd they come from?
I summoned them
How'd you do that?
just through my innate ability.
You just asked them to show up and they showed up?
Yes.
Interesting.
I call and they come.
Huh. Okay. Good to know.
Why, Jiri?
I don't know. That seems like a cool thing to do.
I'll go over, and I don't really need to RP any of it, but I'll check in before we like leave this platform. I just want to go chat with my parents and just debrief. It hasn't been that long since I've seen them, but like I'm not gonna ignore them.
Yeah, they will definitely eagerly engage you in conversation, starting off not cold, but more professional than warm, of asking you about like trajectory of what. Okay, so you got to Forest Hall at this time, and then you engage them in this way, and then like just like almost too structured of a conversation, but slowly it melts into more. Look at us, we're a family together, engaging with some of our previous enemies, you could probably call the bird folk and beast folk alike. So interesting conversations to be had there.
Jiri is gonna want to ask because he hasn't gotten king advice from Beast King Mordecai yet, so he's gonna go ask Mordecai for whatever advice he would have for a.
I think you
a
did
would-be
ask him for advice upon your first meeting with him.
Did I? I feel like that was before I was.
I think
maybe I just
think he
didn't
might have
write
been
it
the
down.
first you asked.
Oh.
I think I remember that. I might have to look back at the session to see what he asked or mentioned to you.
Gotcha. Okay, if I've
But
already
I
done,
remember.
never
I do
mind.
remember he gave you counsel.
Okay. I just don't have that. I have Be Patient from Mathros and Utilize Past History from Aranel. I just didn't write anything down for Beast King Mordecai, I guess.
Very cool. Yeah, I'll take a look at that because I do think he did respond to that question of yours. There are certainly other individuals here you could ask that question of, should you be so interested?
Yeah, who's like the next in line for royalty?
I would say one that might strike Jiri's interest might be Harold Keatra, who her mind is very strange in the way it works, and I don't know that you've asked her that. And I do think her general personality that stands out from the rest might occupy Jiri's interest, I would think.
Oh, and then I will go up to her, tell her my tale briefly, keep it short and sweet, and then ask her for her advice.
Her advice will be, you must never let them confine you. If you do not know your own thoughts erratic enough, then they cannot guess at your ambitions, your strategies. You can never be taken advantage of. This has suited me well.
I love her.
That makes complete sense.
Alike mind, then, or not alike at all.
Maybe opposite, maybe the same. Who can tell?
Exactly.
She's the Riddler.
I don't know why this character is not a squirrel villain, being like, oh.
Yeah, she is the epitome of graceful appearance and
Bird
just
brain.
absolutely erratic in her mind state.
So it's Dinah.
And yet and Dinah.
No,
Dinah
iconic.
is, yes, most notably a shifter, a wolf-based shifter. Humanoid mostly in appearance, but wolven features throughout.
And we have not seen her in action. She hosted the Gauntlet, right?
Correct. Have not seen her in action. And
We're
just for
together
fun,
at this point.
I'm going to show the other two just because I worked hard on Beast King Mordecai
So cool.
and Tenufei Loonsong. Very proud of those two Avatar PNGs.
They might be my favorite so far, like that you've shown outside of maybe the Arcanite, but I know that was like a commission.
Can you put Mordecai back up?
Yep.
They are not Dragon Balls. There are
They
nine
are
of
not
them.
Dragon
there
Balls.
Are 9 of them.
They're crystalline amber orbs that have a flickering dark red flame within them.
That'll be the hardest boss fight.
The nose looks
suddenly,
so good.
also,
dude.
suddenly the Arc Knight appears on screen too for no reason.
Incredible.
Cool. Keatra, you see Keatra after you leave, Jiri just rubbing her hands in excitement at what an interesting conversation.
Best advice yet.
Have we done insight
Also-
checks on her? I feel like we have, but I don't remember.
I think they would
Jiri
be made
will.
with disadvantage.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and make an insight check with disadvantage.
2 nat 20s.
There's got to be a thing for that, right? Like not like a inscrutable mind is a feature I'm currently adding in my head to her mental stat block.
14.
14. Surprisingly, you do like not that you gain true insight into unique aspects of her secrets, but you do strangely have a kindred spirit in the idea of like, hey, if I, if I don't know my own thoughts, my enemies can't know my thoughts. That makes perfect sense. Like you do understand that there's a value to erraticness.
What a way to confuse Telperion.
I'll cast
Try it
Detect
out.
Thoughts now.
On
Everybody.
Oh, just everyone? You're welcome to. Who do you start flitting around? You instinctively pick up some passive elvish conversations between or thoughts from various Selethar nearby, but
I want to start with Keatra after listening to her and Jiri chat.
Keatra's mind probably sounds like just a constant loop of ranting in her mind. Like, and then we couldn't do that, but then, no, this is more suitable to our forces. And it's just like, I won't do it justice, but no tangible information gleamed other than that, wow, her mind could be a prison to anyone else. Like, it's just, that's a lot to live with.
That's
in
a
your mind
lot.
at all times.
All right, so what next? And I'm only doing cursory, so no one knows I'm in.
Here I go spying again.
So wet, you sense less than language, you sense hyper attentiveness. You sense just almost the direction of his focus shifting from person to person, eyeing the elves, eyeing even the beast folk with suspicion, eyeing you all with less disdain than you might have received from him initially when you met him, but certainly just he's a dutiful individual who will serve his herald, but he's not sold. He's not wholeheartedly committed to this whole thing.
All right, Mordecai.
Mordecai has left the stage. He's on the map, but he walked
Okay.
out.
Is Dinah still around?
Yeah, Dinah's over there.
I'll hit Dinah.
Dinah is currently engaged in conversation with some of her lieutenant beast folk over in that direction. So you don't get any information from her mind that's different from her conversation. You're just almost hearing a slight just off. You're hearing the words she says a split second before she says them. But she's just conversating about, and what preparations have been made in quarter 3, and just going over like preparations for this space.
And then who is this person?
That is your Crescent Knight instructor, Vanya Duskvale.
I'll tap her. I think I get a couple. I get like maybe 10 taps, but I don't need all of them. But because it's like
Go ahead and make a perception check.
Perception.
Percute him.
Oh, that's a nat 1.
Okay. Nothing of note that you sense other than her natural sort of inner dialogue of your mother and father are talking quietly to themselves, and she is just looking around the terrain thinking, never thought I would have been here. A far cry from the Moonset Grove. Prince Loonsong's really done something here, hasn't he? And then a slight moment of pride when she thinks to herself about you, and then immediately after, a small sense of deflation in her own ego.
What about Red Bird?
Realize My
Rillis, powerful, massive red wings, keeping his larger than usual Aarakocra body aloft, is just sort of at the herald's side and just not entertaining himself, considering to himself where best suited the spear casters should set for tonight.
Cool.
Dude, he's so cool.
Yeah, I'll throw him up
I
too,
guess
just because I didn't do any work on this guy. He was just in the Google thing, but
chill. Does anybody else catch my eye as like of interest to check? Because like he's Telperion. I mean, I'm doing this partially because like check your allies a little bit and just kind of like wanting to make sure everyone is like as well seeming as they mean and as invested in what's happening here, and just like kind of like on the exit, like the big conversation's over, everyone's mind's starting to drift. So yeah, I could tap Korik, I guess, but like, is there anyone else of interest in this region?
Make it just a general insight check as you continually tap people over the next minute or so. 11. Nothing really catches your suspicion or concern. People are overall, people are interested. This is not entertainment, but it is entertaining to be here. This is all very new, so people's minds are on that, but then they're full of confusion and like just, wow, is this really where we are? None of these people like intended to be uniting like this, but that doesn't mean it's a weak alliance. It's just very much on the mind that people seem to be willing to follow their leaders. They just might not have full belief in the United Kin Army yet.
Cool. Just casting it so it's cast for the day. I'll snap Korik just for interest, but then I'm good.
Korik, I think, is also not here.
Okay.
He kind of made himself scarce when he escorted you here. He had other business to attend to. I think he said that too.
Telperion's doing 10 minutes of mental ring and run.
Yeah, not even 10 minutes. I think it's less time than that, but just like a little bead of tapping people.
Fact. But I'll head to the tent just to check in with Toby.
Okay. Roulette, I don't know how long it might. I am assuming it might be a little while with you discussing ideas in spellcraft and whatever with Minerva. But eventually, I imagine you'll all come together at the camp.
Yeah.
Jiri, also, as you're on your way to the camp, heading back in that direction, familiar voice in your mind says, Jiri, I must admit I'm continually impressed. I know your mind pulls you in different directions, not only from within, but without as well. I've been particularly impressed with your ability to win the trust and admiration of those at your side. Do remember to use their strength and add it to yours. I've been impatient with you in the past, and I will be again. But I used to think we should sprint to Daenor. But the allies you've won to your side will only increase our chances of actually making it to the destination successfully. Set our sights on figuring out what happened to us. The end goal is Daenor. But I'm beginning to trust your aimless path you take there. You have earned a bit more of my power, and I will see what I can do to make sure I help you get there. Help us get there.
Cool, thanks, Dad. We'll get to Jawland someday, I know it.
Jiri. Perhaps tonight is not the night. I do not think I am your father, and I don't think it's healthy for you to think I am. I hope you will consider being open to a conversation on that front soon. Don't be dismissive of my words. Be open to them next time we talk.
Strange. Okay. I'm still gonna call you Dad though, because I don't know who else you'd be. If you're not my father, then who are you?
You just hear a sort of grunt. But otherwise, you're all able to come back together at the camp.
Here.
Yeah, it's been about 2 hours. Do we want to take a quick bio break?
That works great.
Sure. Quick bio.
Cool. Good stuff. See you back here in a few.
Are we taking a bio break? Oh, wow.
Yes, sir, we are. That's not classic. Steve.
Ahoy.
I found a really good weapon in Baldur's Gate.
Oh God, which?
I found my first +3 weapon.
You're disgusting. What level is your party?
I literally don't want to say anything because it kind of like could potentially spoil.
Yeah, don't say anything.
I don't want to add anything other to just like
It's a +3.
I'm ecstatic that I found it.
Oh.
I'm using
What?
Will.
What level is your party?
I'm using Will as a Pact of the Blade warlock, so he can bind any weapon we find. So I've got that on him.
Holy shit.
We're level 6.
Oh, I think
Close to level 7.
Yeah, I just hit level 4. I think I'm about to respec my whole party. I started out as a monk, but I'm like, nah, I don't really want to do that. Mostly because I just got.
Anytime you add the origin characters or any NPCs to your party, you should respect them because often they have a lot of odd ability scores. And you can figure those out, yeah.
I need to figure those out more.
Karlak can be made a lot better with some simple respecking.
I literally, the stupid part is that I just had Karlak added to my party, and I went through the level up thing, and I was like, I feel like I should have redid
She's
these
got like
scores.
a 15 con and a 13 dex, but she's got like a 12 charisma or something. So
Yeah,
it's like, get
I'm
rid
like-
of those, give me
Yeah.
+2 dex, +3 con, and it's yeah.
But yeah, I'm playing like my main character is a monk, and I just got Karlak, and I was like, I
There's
fucking
so
love.
many good monk weapon items.
I
Period.
love this bitch. I was like, I love this barbarian bitch, and I want her in here so bad. But I don't know if I can have a monk and a.
I'm doing my
barbarian.
best to romance Karlak in my solo playthrough.
Oh, I honestly, I made that choice literally earlier today, and I was like, there have been no other characters who I've wanted this dwarf to fuck yet.
Gale is a lot hornier than I thought he was gonna be.
Oh yeah, Gale is number 2. Fun fact, and I hope Mike can't hear me. Actually, he's probably ahead of me. Why do I even care? Asterion killed my character the other night by accident.
By drinking too much blood.
I couldn't get him off. I kept trying to attack and do persuasion stuff. I couldn't get him off. And then my
That's
favorite.
funny.
The next morning came around, and the in little red text it said "can't control, dead," and I was like,
So you gotta use a scroll or go talk to Withers. That's funny.
it was so funny. I was laughing because I kept rolling bad, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna be hurt in the morning.
Christopher and I have talked about this at length. There are several decisions that are like, I think if I click this, it'll end the game for me. And like I'll die.
Yeah.
And I'm like, on subsequent playthroughs that'd be fun, but I want to go far on this one first.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just let him keep drinking.
I love it. I love this game so much. Where did my phone go? There you are. Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying this.
I would encourage some slow or continually thorough movement through the game, because apparently the third act is still pretty buggy. So I'm working my way through, hopefully slowly enough that patches come out to fix things by the time I get there.
You're saying like take your time getting through the game?
Yeah.
Oh, I very much am. I'm taking this game very slowly, and I'm not feeling bad about it.
It sounds like a ton of problems have already been fixed through the hot fixes, and I think they're ready for patch 1 to come out.
Are you on Act 3, MK?
No, I'm on Chris and I's file and on my solo playthrough. I'm very early in Act 2. I've just heard a lot about Act 3 bugs.
Wait, when is Act 2? I just hit level
Mike,
5.
Mike, you'll get a notification that says Act 2.
It says you're gonna venture into new content or something.
Yeah, I'm heading there soon.
It's pretty clear.
What has been your favorite part of this game?
The spell.
What is it that what makes it really good?
I am a level 6 character in 2 different campaigns, and it took me 2 weeks, so I get to play D&D more quickly. Essentially, I'd say that's the biggest draw. Is it's just D&D. And most people are taking like about 100 hours to get to the max level of 12. And if you think about us, we've had 70 sessions to get to level 10. So that's almost 300 hours. So it's like a third of the time, maybe less than that, to progress.
Okay. Second question. How would you rank this game among like top games you've played?
Are we talking Baldur's Gate?
We are. And before I give my take, I would
Number 1
say
game.
Baldur's Gate 3 is currently the highest rated PC game of all time.
Well, no, in like the past like 18, 16 years or something. I saw the same article.
Okay. Yeah. I have no idea. I haven't finished it. I don't know, but so far I'm gonna play this for thousands of hours.
It's so different than any other video game I've ever played, because I've never played a video game where the experience of having in the video game is like directly analogous to this, like to something else I do as another form of entertainment. Like playing Monopoly as a video game, as a board game, like yeah, sure, that's a thing you can do. But like, it's so I don't know. I think they just did such a good job of making it feel like D&D in a video.
Yes, completely agree.
Hmm.
And so cinematic. The fact that they did it, the freedom of D&D justice is crazy. You could never do it perfect justice ever, but they did as well as a fucking video game could ever hope to do. I think it's unreal.
My character, I have like 5,000 gold right now. It costs 100 gold to respec a character from scratch, from its class origin, and like it's just so much freedom. If I want to be like, it was fun having my ASI at 18, but I want to go be suboptimal and try a fun feat. Or right now I have a character that's like 3 levels of paladin and 2 levels of rogue, which is like kind of weird, but it's like I can fix it when I want, but it's kind of fun to mess with in the meantime. And so it's like all of this like experimentation that you ever dream of, you can just kind of do it, and it doesn't punish you for experimenting, which is really fun.
Very cool. Yeah, from everything that Tim's like said, it sounds like it's a really cool game. And that it sounds like there's also just so much thought that goes into like the path that you choose too. Like it's just amazing the amount of like
guarantee all of us have had different experiences. And like there's literally been different content available to us through choices we made.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, each of us has probably seen a cutscene that none of the rest of this group has seen. Like, I bet that has been the case. It's just so damn impressive.
But back to Eridon.
Yes, back to Eridon. And I'm not trying to force this into existence. I just want to check because I think I know what MJ or MK Toby's going to do. So before that happens, I am curious. Roulette, are you reading your letter sooner or later?
I was planning on reading it right before I went to sleep, so
Got it.
I will get back to the tent. Is it okay if Steven reads?
You are more than welcome to read
Okay.
it ahead of time now.
Okay.
I would just want to address Roulette's response to it when that happens.
Probably right before bed. I will say
Okay.
that after, because I know we're doing Speak with Dead, so I will wait till
Perfect.
after.
I for the sake of stating it, I want to talk to someone else and do something else prior to bed, just in case, whatever.
Yeah, it's probably nearing evening. People are starting to break out foods and wines and stuff. So you guys have gathered here at the tent. Toby wants to talk to you guys, it sounds like. But there's definitely ample opportunities to still do things before bed. But yeah, Toby, what you got?
Okay. We can talk to Thane Gaspard. Jerry, it sounds like you might be able to disguise me. That would, I think, help a lot. I can also check in on the Deadeye who got away. And then lastly, I would like to learn about this medallion that I think warranted 1,000 troops or near that invading Force Hollow for the first time. The amount of troops who invaded Force Hollow the first time is not how many were there when we just visited. They were eager to get there and do something. I think it pertained to Gallus. I think it pertained to the Arcanite. I think it pertained to this medallion, which he gave me that night. And I think, divine its history. So I think, in order, I think that's how we should proceed, but it was important that you all be here. It was important to me for this.
What makes you think that Durast was after the amulet, besides the number of troops, or is that your primary piece of evidence?
It's a big piece of evidence supporting the only theory I have. Gallus had been talking. He had been talking to Ira. We knew he seemed to be trying to keep something on the hush hush with Queen Elia. I saw these signs and then he gave me this thing. If nothing else, I'll find out whether those were connected or not.
Spell away.
So if we have a Thane body and a disguise to place on me, I will happily cast Speak with Dead.
All right. My carpet. I'm assuming I have it. I don't, unless we put it somewhere. It's on
I
back.
think it was rolled up around the Thane. I think it was put in the bag of holding.
Oh, okay. So Jury hasn't been carrying around. That's good.
Yeah, I don't think you've been carrying around a body. I think you guys put him in the bag of holding. I think that happened.
I think it was a combination of the rug, and I feel like someone grew vines or something around him too.
Oh, tied it up. Yeah, Rome might have
Tied it
done
up,
that.
Like, yeah.
Wait, did you
Anyway,
like stop him from decomposing with your magic?
Oh.
I don't believe so.
Do you not? I thought you had.
I have
Is it
the
just
ability to do so. I don't
repose?
remember if I did that or not.
I think you did.
roll tape. I will hand over the bag, and I'll kind of do one of these.
I'm not,
Dawn,
getting,
here,
5 feet's enough for a carpet.
I'm not getting it out. Rome, you like dead bodies. Go ahead.
Does she?
My vines in and pull it out.
Oh,
You
Love
use your
that
vines
body.
into this
Canon.
interdimensional space and slowly extract a rug that smells not great.
You didn't want to enchant this rug, did you, Jerry?
It
I
is
did.
still a corpse.
I'm gonna have to get it cleaned somewhere.
I'll just buy a new one.
I'm tossing 4 tinkerings of rose and lilac and lavender and
Basil.
basil.
Perfect.
All right, Dad. Excuse me, individual that doesn't want to be called Dad anymore. Can you please help me? We need to disguise Toby. We need to use my disguise magic on him. We gotta make him look like
The Dragonborn lady.
Dragonborn lady that we saw that one time.
Summon the illusion like you always do.
Remember,
Just
she has
allow-
no arm.
Just allow more steam to pour through your mouth than usual.
Okay, come here, Toby. You're gonna have to get a little bit closer to me.
Okay. I'm
gonna-
I'm looking up.
I'm gonna breathe some steam on you. You ready?
I'm ready.
Blah. and like,
And as
steam
you do,
pours
yes,
out.
steam just pours out of Jerry's mouth like you've seen it do before to coat himself in an elusive form, but it magically surrounds and shifts Toby's form.
Is there any sensation of feel or
You
anything
feel exactly like yourself,
until
although I think
scales, maybe?
Jerry can choose to modify the height and size you appear to be, but
I'll make
you
it
don't
as
feel any physical
realistic
change.
as possible.
Okay.
And I will.
And are you
indeed-
making him look like the Deadeye? Is that the plan, or just some
Vitria.
other? Oh, Vitria.
Vitria,
Got
yes.
it. Got it. Okay. Yeah, you don't grow a tail,
okay.
but
We'll keep that behind. Important questions. I believe it's 5.
Who is he gonna meet in Olandris?
Who is the Thane or the Talon they were going to meet? Because we know Count and Countessa were there.
Wait, Jerry, was your first question, why was he banished, essentially?
That could be also a question.
We need to know why he was on these bad terms that he got sent to Force Hollow.
What's the motive?
Yeah, if he knows the motive, that'd probably be a good one.
How is he gonna think that Vitrio needs these answers from him?
That's fine. He just doesn't need to be hostile towards the,
Sure.
Inquisitor.
What is the motive? What is their next objective? Not
I'd
their grand
say-
motive
I'd
overall.
say, number 1, why is Durast interested in Force Hollow?
Okay, motive.
Sure.
Well, I feel like we know that one. It's for like conquest.
No, but this is what his private theory about the amulet.
I'm wondering if there's a specific interest about Force Hollow specifically.
Interesting. Can we combo that into like also getting 2 questions in one? Like, is there a way to phrase it so that it's like also what's your general goal?
We need general goal and we need next immediate short-term objective.
Mm.
That's
We also want to know the long-term objective.
Yeah, but that's over 5 already. And I think one of them needs to be like, what's your life story? We need like every detail you can tell us about yourself.
How
I
does
wonder,
Thane?
what if we could kill someone who knew the Thane and then ask them for the Thane's life story and behavior?
We should have taken more dead bodies with us. You're right, jumping around.
Jiri is
something
going to
littered around.
start trying to carry so many dead bodies.
There's probably some littered around Force Hollow already.
How little of a body can we have and you cast this spell on it? Can we
I
just
need
have
a
fingers?
corpse with a mouth that is not undead.
So a head. We could just take heads.
We could wrap them in a cocoon-like material. I could weave it.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about like how many bodies can we realistically carry around with us?
And I say,
But if it's just heads now,
I don't know if it's gonna be just heads. We gotta ask Toby. What do you think about just heads?
I'd have to try it.
Toby, I don't think about this in your question.
Okay.
He may not know why Force Hollow was important. If
I thought we heard something at some point like that
He
Force
was.
the Force Hollow was like the shit post that he didn't want to be
He
there.
viewed it as I didn't do good enough and they shipped me off here. So that's a good point. He might not have any idea of why.
But Toby brings up a good point that the fucking Talon was sent. The Arc Knight came to kill Gallus for some reason.
So
besides
maybe
Animus.
question number 1. What
kill
Talon were you going to meet in Elandris?
Yes. Toby, we're gonna have to. We have 10 questions. You're gonna have to cast this like tomorrow as well, because like
You
we
only
should
get one
also
time,
ask him.
buddy.
Are there any
Hang on.
secret?
secret.
Can I ask
Well-
it more than once?
I think it's
The
once a
spell
day.
fails if the corpse was the target of this spell within the last 10 days. That is
Oh.
a lot of our precious time spent.
All right. So most important, long-term, full objective.
What was Durast's goal after conquering Creatia? Okay.
Sure.
Ooh. Mhm.
I think-
Short-term objective. What is their next target? Those are the first 2 most important questions. Then the rest can be about the Thane, how we're going to use his body.
His
I
love
think
life.
So maybe a second question is Atheros still resists. Is that Durast's primary objective?
Let's do an arrow.
I think one of the questions has to be, how would you convince somebody that you're the real version of yourself?
I could ask what's something only you would know. I could ask something like that.
Really, a lot of answers to that. What's an identifying
Like, how
trait
would
of
you? What would you do to convince somebody that you are not an imposter?
It's like getting he's like getting all of the previews he needs.
Are there any secret passwords that only like? Is
Ooh,
there a handshake or like a hand signal that you do that's like?
How is he planning on impressing the Count and Countess?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
At Audra, whatever the name of the city is.
I will also say, to Jerry's point about like secret handshakes and all that, we're gonna have to just capture someone and interrogate them. Like, we can't get all of that from this corpse. I think this corpse, if it's our one chance at information the Thane held, we shouldn't do just how do we pass as a Jurastian.
There's probably still dead bodies in Forest Hollow that might know him. That we could use.
We should cut the head off of one of them to test the head theory.
And then also just take an actual corpse in case the head theory doesn't work.
We can go harvest corpses all day. Toby, how many questions do you had?
I'm at 4. I've got what Talon were you going to meet in Elandris? How are you planning to impress the Count and Contessa. What is Durast's next goal in Croatia? And then what was Durast's goal after conquering Croatia?
But the talent question, why don't you ask, and what's your relationship to that talent? And just who is it, and get, if you just get
As
a
a
one-word
follow-up?
answer. Yeah, if you get a one-word answer.
So that would be a fifth question.
No, but more of who is that talent and
Work
what
it
is
into
your
the first question.
Yeah. Because if you just get a single one-word answer, we could have gotten that by listening at the door as we go into Elandris.
So I'll just focus on the relationship aspects then, since the who is probably more readily available.
We're gonna have to ask him more questions in 10 days anyway, so.
Right before the battle.
Sure. Count. And then any recommendations for a fifth?
What does your instinct say?
What does hell look like?
What are your hopes and
The body responds. The soul.
What are your
does not
dreams and
respond.
ideas?
what are your dreams and ideas?
Would you like to know their life story, Jerry?
Yes.
Who was
gotta
the
be-
assassin?
What?
Who was the assassin?
Like the name, we know it was a Deadeye.
Maybe
How
not.
many of them are there? Who specifically was it?
Yeah, think about it this way. What would Mordecai want to know?
Do they have any spies in our camp? What about
Beautiful. Oh my god, beautiful.
that? Who are the spies?
Do you have any spies
Where are your spies
in creation? Oh yeah.
outside of
You can't
Where are
say
your spies?
you
Where are
have
your
any.
spies?
You have to
Yeah,
ask
because then it's yes or no.
Who are the spies?
who are.
I just pictured Critter clicking over to a file, a tab marked
And
spy.
I might need to be a little specific. Who are your spies in the Emran? Who are your spies in Chimeras? Who are your spies in Bellidonia? Which
Where are your spies south of Croatia?
Is King Mordecai a spy?
Oh, that'd be awful.
I think that's too specific.
That's a yes or no answer.
That was the yes or no answer.
Who are your
But-
spies?
We need a D&D movie style montage, right?
I can't cast it that many times. I don't have an item granting me the ability.
With
In 10
infinite
days.
spell slots.
We
Corners
actually
crazy.
Who are your spies? I'm going to say in Bellidonia.
I would say pick either Chimeras or Bellidonia.
I'm going to say in Bellidonia.
Beautiful.
Well,
I also haven't cast it, so yes, Telperion, if there's anything you want to add.
we don't know anyone in Bellidonia. If he says names of Belladonians,
We
it's
can
Yeah.
bring that up
a-
tomorrow to the leaders and say, let's
No,
investigate this.
do Chimeras first. Do Chimeras first.
It will be Chimeras until 10 days from now.
Yes, do that.
Okay, Chimeras.
Because if there's a spy in this camp, that's more important than if there's some senator we don't know in
Um,
Bellidonia who's going to betray us in a
I
month.
also
and a half.
imagine the elves have been looking into the fact that Ezrin was a spy, so hopefully any
yeah.
spies would have been uncovered by now, or they're still looking into it. So I think Chimeras or Bellidonia is a great option. Chimeras is what I'm due, and I will cast Speak with Dead.
What is
How,
your
how
favorite-
do you cast Speak with Dead? You've done it before, but I always like to remind ourselves of the visual of it.
I think I've deleted all of my spell descriptions that I've already cast before.
Oh, I cast Enhance ability for Charisma.
I hide.
Speak with Dead is an action and it lasts 10 minutes, so during that time, I'm surely that would work. The body is placed down flat and adjacent to how we see it in Baldur's Gate. Toby sends out silver mists to kind of manipulate the body to bring it up, and it will
Humming
kind of
buoyant.
work the mouth as the brain gives what other remnants of information were left on its
The
physical form.
silver mist sort of out of nowhere begins apparating almost seemingly from Toby as a source and slowly coalesces around the body, giving it buoyancy, lifting it up, and slowly seeping into the Thane's eyes, nostrils, mouths, ears, and then forcing the mouth open, mist drifts from its mouth. It regards you lifelessly.
Nice. What was your relationship to the Talon you were going to meet in Elandris?
Vince. Wait, sorry. Annoying French voice, but dead. Annoying French voice, but dead. Convince the True Blade to allow me back into the witch's graces.
Was that first word convince?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice shot.
Sorry, I will ASMR this really close to the mic.
Be more annoying with French.
How were you planning to impress? How are you planning to impress the Count and Contessa?
Emphasize my arcane prowess.
Love it.
Wasn't very much. Prowess, not question dances.
After seizing Atheros, what is Durast's next goal in Creatia?
I imagine to parlay with Belladonna. For free, you gain the insight that there was uncertainty in that. And you quickly gain that, okay, maybe that could be a logical thing of some sort of negotiation with Belladonna, as New Durast is now sort of the size of Belladonna or even bigger. But you also gain quickly the understanding that the Thane might not have intricate knowledge of
workings.
Yeah.
Toby is thinking to himself that maybe that lines up with the fourth question that was, what was Durast's goal after conquering Creatia? So he's considering.
Not gonna know that.
I've learned something.
He can't talk to us really while he's doing the spell either. You could think it me though.
I'll lead with the other question. Who are your spies in Chimeras?
The witch's network is unknown to me. Alas. You also are very quickly gaining the insight that he wished to work. There's some desire to work for the witch.
But mentioned the True Blade as who he was going to try and talk to, convince. So the use of different words there is different. I think Coda Navarre is the True Blade, which is
the witch the Oni or is it Moira?
Maybe both, maybe different. I don't remember that we got confirmation that the Oni was a Talon.
It is. We know that one.
So I have a fifth question.
Witch's
network is unknown to me.
Yeah, focus on what this idiot does now.
His life story.
Yeah, get a little more local.
Life story.
How did you rise to your position?
Oh, he's gonna love this one.
It all began. Young age. Prodigy. Bullied.
God.
I'll
I'll show them the witch. Understudy. No disappointment. Force hollow.
And you lose connection with the spell as the mist leaves his
The magic
body.
wins. You can ask no more questions. I want Amelia Taylor to narrate our
Yes.
D&D game.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow. All of that was audible, so I don't need to even really to relay that to you all. So, not widely known what they're doing next. He was making, it sounds like an educated guess, to talk to the next biggest nation.
That's a very good point, Toby. If you didn't know.
So, Thane, sounds like next is people in charge of cities while they're occupying, Count and Countesses. Then Talons, then King.
It might be like Thane, and it's. I mean, if nothing else, like at least his educated guess as far as next steps. Like goal is to conquer Croatia and then or take over Croatia and then do something else, whether it's talk to Bellidonia or continue the invasion. Like step one is
Alright, so
secure
Jiri,
Croatia.
in your impersonation, he was very eager to impress with his arcane prowess, so be ready to demonstrate and try and win their graces, but
Good thing I have many rogue galactic enchantments and sortileges to show off.
Oh my
Totally.
god.
Convince the True Blade to allow me back into the Witch's graces. We've seen Vitria, we've seen Arknight. Witch, I feel like we were thinking was Moira.
Two
Might
witches.
also be the Oni, unless there's two witches.
I think I don't know above table. We've heard a lot of times about Jiri's witch, different than the Oni we interacted with.
I'm personally above table considering clarifying things that I think have been determined versus things that I don't think have been determined, because I do think there's some conflating going on here, and I'm curious if it's my place to step in and clarify or not. Part of me thinks maybe I should let you guys draw your own conclusions, even if they're wrong, but also I'm like, but did they already earn that information? I'm having a hard time drawing a line.
I will say, I don't know, because of the amount of like subconscious Jiri content, I don't know how much we know about Moira as characters.
That's
I would
fair.
really appreciate help with that, because that might be something I've written down a lot, but never. Telperion doesn't know, and he wouldn't be sitting here spinning this. He wouldn't even know that was another witch that exists. He would think it was the Oni. Do you know Tim?
What?
That was a what? That totally mean I wasn't listening to the question. Moira, as important figure in Jiri's backstory, a lot of the times us players have heard about Moira the Witch. I think that wasn't our characters hearing about it. Does Jiri know much about Moira the Witch?
Jiri does not know who you're referring to. No. I feel like you guys have seen her and heard about her in visions.
Yeah, well, I was curious about visual, what we remember from seeing the memory in Jiri's subconscious.
I don't think we've seen this individual in the memory. I think we've heard
the voice,
like certain figures in Jiri's in Jiri's memories, like talking about her. Is that correct?
Talked about her once.
So there's two things. One of you, I think it was Telperion, I do think saw her in Jiri's mind one time.
Yeah.
Jiri has definitely seen her in his mind, but conscious Jiri may not acknowledge that as a thing. I think it is fair to say that Telperion, you have not a lot, but enough knowledge of connecting dots in Jiri's mind, in your experience detecting thoughts one time, that because you had seen a vision of Jiri, but as Jax with half drow arms, hands in the vision. in a dungeon space, and you saw Moira. Moira is one of the Talons. She is sometimes referred to as the Witch. There's other titles for her granted in Daenor and in Durast at large. Like many, renowned figures are guaranteed to get titles thrown at them by the general populace. But she is sometimes referred to as the Witch. Any conclusions being drawn outside of that might be your own.
Okay. Mainly, who is this Oni that we met who impersonated?
I think
Kare.
I'm not willing to clarify
Sure.
things you guys have or have not learned about the Oni.
Sounds good. So that means that it's probably Moira, from what we know. And I will tell you guys above table, I have a note in here about Jiri's dagger that we took off of that person, because I rolled like a 21 history check. That dagger was made of a... What, Steve? Oh, I thought you were shaking your head. That dagger has to do with Moira. I'll give you the note in a second.
I think above table, I don't know that all of our characters know this yet. So I
I'm
think
pretty
we're
sure-
expecting that it's similar metal or...
Toby, Rami, you know that
Origin.
for sure. Your more recent dream experience with Jiri confirmed that the dagger you found on the Deadeye
You're
is
band.
identical, not in physical form,
Sure.
but in substance
essence,
to the blade
whatever
Jiri
went
wields.
into the creation of it,
Sure.
etc.
Hex said, I feel familiarity with the magic that radiates from it. Sporadic memories, workshop bench full of weapons like these, creations of the witch. As am I, question mark. Jiri shared, Dad said workshop of weapons and witch. So what I quoted, Jiri heard, and then we only have Jiri's transcription of that.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know, unless Telpiran has talked about Moira to the group. I don't think anybody knows the name besides you, right?
No,
First
that's what I'm
blood.
saying. Telpiran definitely knows the name, and that can be brought into conversation to some degree. But
Does anyone
I
ever
agree
heard the
that I
name
don't think
Moira?
it's been talked about very much.
Because one time I was in Jiri's memory, and the witch was described as Moira. You, Jiri, talk to Dad. Talk to Daddy. Just you remember Moira, a witch?
Wait, you're saying that was a Jack's memory, though?
No, it was a memory from this general direction.
I don't know, but that's something Jax did. I don't know any witch. That's not part of me.
Ask your father. He might remember.
He doesn't want to be called my father anymore for some reason. I don't know. He must be
Yes.
disappointed in me. All right, not Dad. Telpiran wants to know about this Moira person. You know anything?
Jerry, I understand that you don't regard it as your own memory because it was lived by Jax. But we unlocked this memory together. Do you not remember?
And then pushing into your mind and memory, Jiri, and a vision of a memory of Jax, so that now this vision at least lives in your memory. You do recall that moment in the dungeons. Whether or not it was you, and it may have been just Jax, but you do recall the experience lived through first person of Jax's hands interacting, escaping from the cell that imprisoned you, moving through the space, glimpses of Moira from the past, moving up to that arcane glass that housed this moving Vantablack sludge, removing it, touching it, and then all going dark. And in your peripheral vision, a workshop, a bench full of Vantablack weapons. Short swords, pickaxes, daggers.
So Jax's memory, I can confirm, that's probably where this dagger is from.
Do we want to see where the Deadeye, who was wielding it, has reported back to?
Yes, but I'm going to call attention to something. There are 4 Talons. Vitria, fuck her. What is she? Martial? She's armless. Kota, swordsman? Sure.
The true blade.
The true blade? Sure. Scary knight. The Arc Knight is terrifying, right? Moira what's gonna happen when Jack sees Moira? What's gonna happen when Hex Audra sees Moira? If Moira is the Talon who the Thane was going to meet, that is probably far above what we can deal with.
Moira was not going to be there. He was going to meet the True Blade.
True
Blade.
To get back in the witch's graces.
I'm just wanting to point out, when we meet this witch, it's going to be hellacious.
She's going to have an understanding of what's going on with Jiri, far beyond what we have.
Good track that assassin then. That's an important next step.
Okay. I will prepare my bone hand holding scales, and we have a dagger that the Deadeye was wielding as one of its possessions, and I was going to scry on it.
Should I just roll this gentleman back up, or what are we doing with this guy?
Yeah, we need to keep that. Yeah, roll him back up.
Jiri wants to talk to you in 10 days. Sure, give me a
We
second.
need to find out more if I'm going to disguise myself as him for a long period of time.
I will, to appease Jiri, I will cast Gentle Repose on the corpse of...
No, that's not going to appease me. That's going to appease Roulette and her bag of holding.
I think a less rotten corpse in the bag
will keep the mouth ready to work for what I need to do.
I was afraid.
It's protected from decay and can't become undead, which is also super important. For
Wouldn't
10
want
days,
to
that lines up perfectly.
Anyway, I'll roll it back up and I will put him in the bag.
I was hoping to do. So I will cast Scrying.
There's like, where's this assassin, dude?
With a.
I do need to pull up his stat block.
The dagger he was wielding, which hopefully gives the -4 save.
He's under the file marked spies.
Spies and Chimeras asterisks. Wisdom save. I imagine it's just going to be he's an Elandris, but maybe there's more to garner.
What would we do without a cleric?
It is this result
We'd be dead by now.
-4.
Jesus Christ.
Which doesn't matter anymore because it's just a critical success.
Unless we inspiration it.
Is that how
There are ways
works?
you can. Yes, inspiration is a table level. You guys choose a reroll that happens. You're welcome to use it in a situation like this if you want. That is a use of an inspiration.
Can you cast it again, Toby?
I really don't want to. I could cast it tomorrow, I suppose.
Toby Rama, in this moment, you're looking into your arcane lens that alights and begins to shimmer and intend to show the location of something. You're feeling resistance surge from this individual's mind.
Super one.
Tim's face.
What is the wording on it?
We all do it.
What's the wording on if I fail, I can't... Oh, there it is.
10 days, I think.
What?
You can't use it again for 24 hours, is what it says.
24 hours.
My bad.
So I'm gonna not.
I had 10
I'm
days
not
in my
gonna
head from
affect
the
Gentle Repose and Speak with Dead, so I'm not gonna try and do anything.
I feel like we can wait 24 hours, right?
Speak now or forever hold your peace. Anyone trying to do it?
No.
Does he know we tried it if he succeeds?
Let me read.
That's the only thing that matters here. Otherwise, 24 hours is nothing.
If a target knows you're casting the spell, it can fail to save voluntarily. It doesn't say anything about it knows it because it's an invisible sensor.
The only way they
that
know
requires C invisibility to notice.
Correct. Yes.
And I don't even think the sensor got placed there because I failed.
Correct.
Inspiration.
Which Toby knows all of these mechanics, obviously. Okay. I couldn't clean them. I can try again tomorrow or any day after. We should hang on to the dagger. That will be helpful. In the meantime, I would like to learn about this medallion I've been carrying for some time.
Don't know the spell for that.
And so, with the space I've cleared out, I'm going to start taking 250 gold worth of incense.
Yikes.
I still have this copy and pasted do. And laying it out in this image.
Ooh.
In this design. And at the center where the incense
That picture's
starts,
not loading for me.
Yeah, I don't have the picture either.
Are you clicking on the link or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's like in the outline of like a little mountains with the sun in the corner.
Toby, what does
It's the default.
Toby, what does
Not
confirm
found
external
picture.
leak mean?
That is funny. It's a very spirally pattern. With glyphs and things in Celestial written on the outskirts of it. And at the center, he will set up 4 ivory strips to prop up the medallion. And I will cast Legend Lore.
And I believe you name it to some degree.
Yes. What is the wording here? When you cast the spell,
I love the
name
concept.
or describe a person, place, or object.
I love Toby Magic Hour with the little audience of the 4 winds. So is this past prestidigitation?
And I will trust what I learned from attuning to it and name the Forsaken's medallion.
Oh my god, new music. This is Toby.
As part of this spell, you know this spell only grants. This is such a potent investigation of subject matter that it will only grant information if it is of uniquely legendary or meaningfully important detail.
If it is not, I gain no information. The more information I have about the thing, the more precise and detailed it.
The glyphs along the ivory strips immediately glow, and almost like they're burning, they transfer their heat to the surrounding incense. And as the incense begins to burn up and be consumed, Toby Rama, your eyes are forced wide open and they glow bright white. You are thrust into a vision. And you see, almost heartbreakingly so, Gallus, warm, tender, alive, sitting next to you in bed, passing you the medallion, the last time it changed hands. You're thrust into a further back memory of Gallus being handed the medallion by matriarch Adola Moreau. Thrust back further to Adola Moreau sadly retrieving the medallion from Gallus's late wife Nadia's bedchambers upon her passing. Then, as these visions of the past stretch further and further back, they pass more quickly, painting in your mind rapidly a history of this heirloom's passage over generations of people, until it ends up in the hands of a beautiful woman. Who knows how long ago? But you think you can see a lake in the background. Is this still For's Hollow? Then, as if this vision is showing a scene in time slowly rewind itself, the medallion held in this beautiful woman's hands begins to glow so vibrantly brightly with an aura of red and blue and orange and purple and cyan, and seemingly shunt out from it a magical essence bursts from, and then you hear the sound of a ritual chant being conducted by multiple individuals in the surroundings. Your focus is drawn into the medallion specifically, and again in reverse, undoing the chiseled engravings in it, the inscription around its border, and then the relief on it, time rewinding itself, and you're seeing in reverse what got to this point. You're slowly seeing further and further back. you see this inscription being removed from the medallion, deworked from its form. And eventually, bits and pieces get added to the medallion until it looks like a dull gray scale, like a metal scale of some great beast. Still a dull and unassuming gray, like the Divinor you know. And then, slowly, it darkens. Not by a color of void-like black, but a presence of all hues and colors at once that fill it with such saturated color that it appears obsidian in nature. And then you see it taken slowly from this woman's hand by two glowing hands. And then you are shunted from the knowledge of this spell, as that apparently was the creation of this item, and you have seen all the history that medallion has to give.
Scale.
But I will say one very tangible piece of information gained in this, outside of conclusions you may draw, is that this Divinor material seemed to have been carved from the scale of some gigantic creature
That had been darker than the gray of Divinor.
almost like the darkness, the full saturation of color faded.
And the bit about the magic shunting out, which was in reverse, so something was being shunted in.
That's a reasonable conclusion to draw.
I take out my Divinor vase and I hand it to Toby Rama for comparison purposes.
Crafted.
I wonder what Talia would think of this material. I'd say Minerva, but she's more arcane, but...
Obviously the experience for me was in reverse. I'm going to do my best to start at the beginning and say there was a scale, like, of a creature. Like a lizard scale, a dragon scale, a scale of such full darkness. And then it changed into very similar to this realm, this color of Divinor. Only then was it then crafted. It had some magic. Something was forced in, placed in. Something entered the medallion's craft. And then was it inscribed after something was placed inside? Again, I'm in reverse, but
it does seem like upon. Let me go back to the description real quick.
Let me go to what the words are.
You saw the magic being ejected from it, and then the inscription removed. So you think the inscription was made with a specific ritualistic importance, and then some magic bound into it.
They crafted it. They inscribed these glyphs. I've told you before what they mean. I can tell you again. And then something was put inside, sucked inside. There's something in this. Very intentional. And I think they were looking at the arbor lock that seemed to be in the background. I think this has been passed down in Force Hollow for generations upon generations. It was so much. I saw the beginning and I saw what was most recent. the most clearly. Everything else was just so accelerated.
You said, Toby, that something was injected into the medallion?
Yes, it was, I would assume some sort of magic. It was red and blue and cyan and purple and
So would you say that the medallion is a vessel?
Whether it's a thing, a creature, a power, there's something inside of this.
Were the colors specific or just random colors, you think? Like, was it intentional or just all colors?
Did I intentionally get the colors I saw, or was it kind of just a blending of these bright red and blue
Prismatic
hues?
array of iridescent colors.
Heard it.
Brilliant in coloration.
It seemed to be like a full spectrum of color.
What's the dragon that I saw on my trance terrors? Can you roll me crit?
Seemed to be. It was difficult to make out just because in your trances, you were trancing of the beautiful backdrop of the Feywild, and the shape of that terror dragon was just like an ink blot against the backdrop. But at one time, you did catch a glimpse of like a brilliant red coloration toward its center of its chest.
And
I don't know.
something
It's getting
with-
stuffy in this tent, though, but I do know there's a corpse of a giant dragon up in Durast.
Durest. Also, it seemed like something with kind of glowing hands handed the scale to this woman.
Do you think there's something inside the medallion? Can you like open it up, crack it open, smack it?
I mean, I've heard kind of ambient voices ever since I've worn it. It's just light, peaceful singing. It's reacted a couple times, but
What's the language, like what are the glyphs on the
yes.
Yeah.
Must a soul, both wild and true, bear thy forsaken quarter, lest anguish old cause ire new, compel them towards disorder.
What language is that in?
Celestial. I've now put together. A forsaken
Romans, you-
quarter. Quarter is like a living space.
Rome is your base inscribed in Celestial?
Notably, Rome's vase is inscribed with Druidic, and that's why only Kinsalo was able to activate it upon you all finding it.
But Toby, you speak celestial, so you would be able to like activate this medallion in maybe the same way that you all activated my base. I mean, perhaps there's a mythiline that is contained within this medallion. Do I have any memory of like what my siblings would be encased in, or
Make a wisdom saving throw. Above a 20 is enough to remember. You have a hard time trying to remember Pirua and Zephidel, your siblings of fire and air, because their forms are so gaseous, ever morphing, ever shifting. You're not sure what, you can't recall if they would have been contained in something, especially Zephidel. The air mythiline, supposed to be boundless, endless freedom, shouldn't be contained in a vessel, you don't think. But you do remember that Merwin, your water counterpart, would have been likely contained in a vessel in between life states as you are.
do I recall what it looked like?
You think you remember like an ancient crystalline, what would it be called? Like a draft bottle, but made of crystal.
Hmm.
Just a brief glimpse of water contained in a beautiful vessel.
Toby, have you ever been able to like activate or like use the magic that's contained within the medallion?
It's given me. I felt a slight surge in my power. That's about it. Just kind of vague, general, better use of magic. But that is interesting. We knew this was Divinor, but it was created from a scale, something organic.
I think you better just start showing that to some people who know more than we do, because we can puzzle over this for ages and we're not going to get anywhere because we don't have any more intelligence.
I think though that we may need to be careful of who we show this to, because is this perhaps really rare? Is this metal really incredibly rare, or is it well known?
You've other than other than your vase and this medallion, you've never seen this material in your life.
Okay, so perhaps we should be careful about who we show this to.
And it from a glance, it appears like a dull, unassuming iron, but upon closer inspection, it does relay sort of traits of something different. And now that you have a word to use, organic seems like the right word to use. It seems like metal, but it seems organic. And that's not a innate thought you might have had previously, but it seems like a figurine might be carved from an ivory tusk of something. It seems like perhaps this medallion was carved from some
And
metallic.
does that seem to be the same when evaluating Rome's vase?
The vase is a little bit bigger than the medallion, but in theory, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I finally did that. I mean, it's the last thing Gallus gave me. I thought I would learn more. That's okay. But I saw this thing from when it passed to my hands to its creation. And I think I can do this on an object, a place, even a person. So, Rome, I don't know if you'd be interested in learning about your history. I know you don't remember much. I think that might be something I could divine, but I mean, that's up to you.
No, absolutely. I would love to know more. My memories are disconnected, and it's frustrating to not know my timeline.
I'll make especially an effort to keep that level of magic around for tomorrow, when I'll be able to do this again.
Look forward to it.
Toby,
And
maybe you can cast
200
it on the dagger as well.
If you can find me 75 more gold worth of incense, we can do that.
Okay, I'll start looking.
It takes a hefty bit of incense. Luckily the ivory remains, but yeah, I've got to do the pattern. It's kind of rewinding as it burns from the center. It's rewinding through the history of the object.
75 gold might be worth it to find out more about this dagger. But also, Toby, is there like anywhere else we can look to find more information about your medallion? I think Telpyron's right. Like, we need more knowledge about it. Do you know like where we could look?
I would like to ask an above table question. Did I see who the beautiful woman was who held it around the time of its creation?
It's hard to immediately get a sense of familiarity over so many centuries that passed before your eyes. but there was a hand-drawn sketch that Gallus had of Nadia in his bedroom chambers that he had done in his time in Ostennis when they met. There was some strain of a familial relationship. You think that might have been one of Nadia Moreau's ancestors.
Okay. And then, just for the sake of asking, I don't think I've ever gotten a visual of any of the visions Telperion has had of Cecilia. So I don't think I would have a visual at all to compare. Is that correct?
I think, even without the visions, you might have been able to glance a general likeness from the now heavily faded murals in Brave's Respite.
Okay.
Other than dark hair, which is a super unhelpful connecting trait with how ubiquitous dark hair can be.
Right.
Doesn't immediately indicate a connection.
Okay.
Not to say there's none, but it doesn't immediately strike.
But the Nadia, and maybe if I had known Adola when she was younger, familiarity there, some lineage perhaps.
So my boyfriend's in this camp, and I'm gonna go talk to him now.
That's all I
but
had.
all I'll say before I go is, if that's like organic hard material, maybe it's draconic, and we could or should ask Aluther. They are not here right now.
Right.
Mordecai knows he seems very in this kind of school, and I trust him, so you could ask him before he goes.
Yeah, I don't remember if I ever brought this up to Lady Alwithier when we were.
He's also a friend of Gallus, so I think he'd honor the history of that object.
This has been kind of surrounding our journey together, so I wanted you all to be here when I learned about it, but that's all.
Roulette, you read the letter at the conclusion of this?
Yes, I've had it out and like scrolling through my notebooks, flipping through my notebooks, and I get back to the letter excitedly.
Do you have any interest in reading it out loud? Do you have any interest in me reading out loud, or would you prefer that the text of the letter not necessarily be read above table?
For the moment, not above table.
Okay, that's totally fine. However, I still want to check in with you because you read through this note, and your passive investigation sort of is innately sort of flaring up a little bit. Your dad's punctuation choices seem quite strange throughout. There's frequent misuse of lowercase, very run-on sentences, and the writing actually seems very sloppily scrawled compared to your dad's usual very neat handwriting. You know your dad's voice and writing quite well, and this definitely seems to be from him, but something's strange about it.
I read it like 3 more times, and then I fold it and I put it in the back of the notebook, and I just go back to whatever I was working on with Minerva. Every like 15-20 minutes before bed, taking out the note, reading it again, in a less emotional way, in a more discerning, investigative mindset as I'm reading.
Yeah, make an investigation check while you're at it.
Why is it not linked?
D&D Beyond seems like it just went down.
Oh, nope. There it is. 21.
21.
I will flash of genius that and make it a 25.
Okay.
I like it.
You give it a more discerning mind, and that strikes you as unique anyway, in the fact that he used the word discerning. Thank you for being patient and discerning. And you think that's odd because it makes sense for asking someone to be patient with them for a mistake, but to ask them to be discerning is rather odd. And you look through the letter in general, and your father actually misspelled a word.
Wait, hold on. If you put like a certain text cipher in this, I don't want you to reveal it to me because I want to find it out on my own.
I'm not going to reveal anything to you. These are
Okay.
just little bits of
Okay.
investigation you're getting. Your father misspelled a word. There's a bit of an ink blot, one single letter that stands out a little bit from the rest, where he mentions the Capitol building. And he wrote the word, it's almost like he wrote the word using an O, but then corrected it to an A. Except that strikes you as very odd since the Capitol building of a nation should be spelled with an O. Why would your dad have incorrectly changed that letter? It's not a mistake like Ernest Tinkerton would make.
This is the word that starts with a capital A.
What?
This is the word that starts with a capital A.
Mm-mm. Further down. Near dawn tomorrow, I make my way for the Senate Capitol building.
Oh.
The word capital, the lowercase letter A, that word is incorrect. That should have been capital spelled with an O. And you just very subtly discern that no one would have noticed this. But I noticed it because I'm his kid. He would have known this. There's no way he would have purposefully incorrectly corrected a word. Why is he drawing attention to that word? That's it. You're welcome to continue puzzling things out.
I put it in the back of the book and I go back to my Minerva notes for everything else.
Okay. Telperion, I think you were going to maybe see Kinsalo?
Yeah. He had said he wanted to introduce me to somebody, so I'm gonna find him and inquire what he meant about that. Does anyone want to go on a walk with me? Or are we all kind of settling for the night?
Toby's gonna be settling in.
Jerry, Rome, are you settling?
I'm gonna settle.
Oh, Telperion, wait, where are you going?
I'm gonna go talk to Kinsalo.
I'll let you guys have some privacy. I'll stay here.
All right, sure.
Are you looking for company, Telperion, or I might be head down in my book most of the time we're walking, but if you're looking for someone to walk with,
Y'all are welcome. I don't think I'm gonna just start kissing him in the streets and make you all uncomfortable, and I'll just bug off with him.
I'm taking like 3 of my books with me, 2 under my arm, 1 actively open as I'm walking, and I will walk with Telperion.
You're able to discuss things if you like with each other on the walk, but you're able to find Kinsalo rather quickly. You see him actually sort of loitering not too far from your encampment, hoping that you might step out this evening, as it's still not quite nighttime. People are still moving about their day, and he will excitedly raise his hand and fly up to greet you both. Hey, how was all the chatter up above? I'm sure it was important.
Well, we got scolded, and then we got promoted, and then we got the leaders to be very indecisive. Well, they're pretty decisive, actually. We need more information, though. So it was.
Sounds like a bunch of nation leaders.
Exactly. Lots of motives, but they were very amicable considering the state. Roulette is very in her notes, lots of things to think about. Toby just worked a bunch of magic. He's got things to think about. Who knows what Rome's thinking about ever. And Jerry was staring at the wall when I left. So anyway, it's been a good night.
Good, I'm glad.
You say?
Yeah, timetables changed a little bit. I might be more interested in checking in with you in the morning. And Roulette, you're more than welcome to join too. Telperion, it's been on my mind since we parted. And as the moot preparations have been surging, I knew we'd all be here together. And I know I'm in a unique position where I can easily ally myself with you and the bird folk, but trust me, it's not far from people's mind that there's a source of tension here between the elves and birds. I know everyone has seemed willing to try and move past grievances. I don't ask this lightly based on what you've talked to me about in the past. And I've been told she's actually settled down for the night now. I was wondering if I might make an introduction tomorrow. Probably a painful introduction, but I think it could be good. Delicate, perhaps. And I'm sorry if I'm overstepping here, but Captain Oro Junequill is here. And I think it might be good for you to meet her.
I figured she'd be around. Sure. Who am I to say no to that?
Okay.
And with you as a mediator, should be fine.
She's not always super talkative. When your forces may have clashed with hers, that was 7 years ago. She's well into her final year now. She will probably pass within the year. She was in her prime 7 years ago, but just the nature of how they age, you know. But I think before she does pass, it might be good to listen. I'm not expecting like hand-holding, forgiveness, anything like that. I just think maybe you'd regret it if you didn't have the chance to talk to her. Shit, maybe just give her a piece of your mind. I don't know what you need, but just after you talk to me a little bit about Doran, just thought I'd make the offer.
Are you nervous to propose this right now?
Yeah, man. I don't.
Yeah. You don't have to worry.
I'm not eager to say, "Hey, come meet the woman who killed Doran." But I think this is selfish of me, and maybe it's Korik talking more than myself. But if you two can come to some understanding, I think it could lead the way for an even stronger alliance between the elves and birdfolk. If you two can find some peace, then they have no reason not to fully commit to this union. Anyway, I think she's settled down for the night, so I'd like to come grab you in the morning once she's roused for the day.
I appreciate the warning and not just springing her on me. Yes, I have duties. I can make the Loon Songs proud and certainly meet them.
Hey, I don't mean to keep you. I'm happy to drink with you guys if you'd like, or I can just fuck off over there and hang out with Altari and them. You guys do your own thing. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time together in the coming months if we're going to war together. Oh, nuts.
I take Roulette and I just like, all right, Roulette, thanks for your company. You got your book, right? And I just kind of turn Roulette around and start pushing her away. Be like, oh,
Gonzalo kind of blushes and puts his head down and scratches his neck.
We've spent plenty of time together. Let's go for a walk.
Just like reading my book. Good night, boys.
And then we don't have to RP, but then I'll just happily go shoot the shit and just walk perimeters and catch up on stuff.
Perfect. You're able to enjoy a night of leisure together. Jiri and Rome, anything specific you guys are doing as the day sort of winds down?
Ooh, besides staring at walls,
Rome's gonna go on a walk and look for the largest tree she can find in the surrounding area.
Go ahead and make a survival check. Very nice. It's somewhat disappointing in size compared to the looming mass that is the tree coming out of the citadel's core. But you find surrounding trees and identify one that seems larger than the rest, and it specifically catches your eye because you do sense it's subtle, but some very minor brown coloration at the base of some of its roots, opposed to the ashen gray color of the rest of it.
Okay. I want to go also investigate the great tree at the Citadel Center. It's still it's living, right?
That tree was due to the what you guys gained information on was due to the burning of the Emerin that then reached that tree. That tree was such a force of nature that it burning up allowed a dark presence to come through. Such a force of nature being sundered weakened the veil and made a path for Sarzarinth to rip his way through. Sarzarinth's Shadowfell energy, as well as the broken ritual below the temple, basically turned that tree into an undead tree. Not dead, not living. The destruction of the ritual removed the source of injecting undeath into it, and the tree has since died. So the looming massive tree is officially dead now, where it was previously undead, and
So
spreading its undead ashes to the entire surrounding barrens.
It's dead.
It is dead. No sense of life in it. Which was part of the choice made to destroy the ritual. Maybe there's no chance for reviving that tree now, but it stopped the undeath aura it was sort of radiating in the space.
Okay. Quick side question. Does level 10 start after this long rest or before?
It's fairly vague, but essentially no threats are going to assault you guys before you long rest, so we can all be at a full level 10 right now.
Okay. And would you say that I have about like 8 hours prior to bedtime? I mean, like this is like daytime, right?
No, we're in the evening, probably past dinner by now, so not necessarily. We're probably in the 7 to 8 hour range. You could stay up late if you're intending to spend 8 hours on something.
We've got tomorrow here too.
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna head on back. I've collected the information I need.
Okay. I'll just give you the insight due to your survival and general inspection that it's so subtle, but there is hope for this surrounding environment. A lot of magic will need to go into facilitating growth in this space, but the removal of the undeath in this area was a chokehold that needed to be removed, or no life would have been able to be in this space. So it's kind of a blank slate full of ash that can actually lend itself to soil and fertility. So it's kind of a playground for new flora to emerge from this space. Likely, most of the trees that exist here are dead and lost causes, but they could be made into charcoal, broken down, and they could break them down into ash themselves and give nutrients to the ground. So there's ways to revive this place, but it will take effort. But it's a blank slate right now.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Jiri, anything from you?
Jiri is just gonna sit down and meditate. He hasn't done this in a while, since I think the last time he like bonded with a sword. But this time he will meditate over the dagger, and he's gonna ask Adras in his mind, open up a channel of conversation to see, and ask him the question: All right, not dad. If there's this metal that's kind of like the sword that I have, do you think there's other people kind of like you out there then?
Maybe. But you touching it doesn't bind it to your skin. Like when you touched the sludge that bound us together. My current theory is that I, whatever I am different from these other materials of similar substance. There is connection, to be sure, but I don't think each one of these items has one of me in it. I don't think. Plus, when you touch it, it's like my essence is repelled from it. When your hands grip it, do you feel that cold sensation? The ichor that is my form retreats from your hand. My warmth leaves you where you touch it. For some reason, what I am does not want to make contact with that.
Ooh, do you think if we got stabbed by this, it would hurt?
Oh, I'm
More so than usual.
I'm quite certain that whatever dark magic transmuted these blades has terrible effect when used to harm.
Okay. I don't know. I'm still confused by our memories. If you remember Jax touching you in a jar, but I remember you as my father putting you in a jar. I don't know. How could that be? How could there be two memories of the same event but from two different perspectives?
Jiri, I have found that in our interactions, we have occasionally unlocked memories, broken through barriers that exist. I think, for whatever reason, I am more capable of retaining those memories. You're painting over them, recoloring them to hide truths. I don't know what to make of it, or why you do it. I don't even think it is your choice. But I can show them to you again in full clarity when you ask.
Maybe not right now. That sounds scary. But I don't know. I still think you're my father. Maybe you ever thought about it this way? Maybe you just don't remember.
I don't remember much, I'll grant you that. But I do remember looking outside at crystalline glass at the form of Jax, who removed its enchantment and bound to me. And we carved a beautiful red tapestry as we made our way out of that prison, never to look back. Though now, it's funny, I wish for nothing more than to make it back in there and find the witch's secrets. Do you remember her stacks of tomes? Her endless swaths of parchment? She must have information she kept on us, on me, on Jax.
Yeah, those are our Jax memories. I'll do it for you. But then, after we figure out what's going on, we're gonna have to find Jax's body to put his memories in, and Meko's body. Get them all out of my mind. And you. We're gonna have to find a body for you. A big Jin body, probably. We'll have to go to Jaland to find you one of those.
Regardless of its form, I would like that very much.
Okay, good talking to you. I'm gonna go talk to everybody else now.
Very well.
Okay, but after time, Telperion, Roulette, Jiri, Rome, Toby, Rama, you're able to come together for a long rest. I forgot I was in this dark music.
Good Jiri music.
It is good Jiri music. But you are all able to come together for a long rest, making use of the encampment made available to you all. You're able to set up bedrolls that are made available for you already. There's an assortment of snack goods in your tent. Anything you guys do as you begin to settle in for a night?
I will recharge my ring of misdirection. I have, I think, up to 18 levels worth of spell slots remaining, so I'll regain 3 charges.
Okay.
Let's pass out.
Oh, before you pass out, Telperion, I gotta take a poll. I gotta ask you guys all a question. Okay. So you guys saw Rome's magical creature she summoned, did you not?
Yes.
All right, I've got a good idea. I think I should try to summon a creature from Jaland to come and join us.
Isn't that what Shadow Moby was?
Yeah, Shadow Moby was supposed to be a friend of mine, but I don't know. He's just a shadow now. I don't know.
Maybe he's not a friend of yours because you have other friends.
I mean, you can be a friend of mine, and Shadow Moby can be a friend of mine.
Sure. What kind of creatures can you summon?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask. What should I summon? 3
Like,
options.
how-
Yeah.
What do you have there?
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. I've got my 3 favorite being creatures, and you'll see them eventually when we go there. But I think they might help us out. The first one is a Jalandi Shag Stallion. Very, very fast.
What
Good
is
for
it? Just
riding
like a big shaggy horse?
No.
Same
No.
one. Describe
It kind of looks like a carpet. It's got tassels on each corner. It's spin around really, really, really fast.
It's a shaggy carpet stallion.
with spinning castles.
Like tassels, you know tassels?
Tassels.
Oh, I think okay, sure.
Option number 2.
Doesn't love a tassel.
What? Tassel?
I know who doesn't love one.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's option number 1, Telperion. Maybe you'll vote for that. Now, option number 2. A Harkonian 4-armed Nimbus. Imagine a big cloud that's blue, and it's got a tail. Kind of like a tadpole. But it's got 4 arms, and they can pop out and walk around.
Sure.
Option number 3. A Pyron Steamhound. Imagine like a wolf, but like really long arms. More like a dog. Big mouth. Long snout.
You summon a wolf?
No. I'm gonna summon one. It's actually a hound, not really a wolf.
I think I like
That one can't fly, though.
the least.
2, my lord.
I say 1.
Oh my lord. Does this tassel horse have a head?
No, it's a carpet.
It's a shag stallion, Telperion, obvious.
So it's either a
Looks
carpet.
nothing like a horse.
It looks nothing like a horse.
It's
it
a
looks like
shag stallion. It's a
It's a
carpet.
shag
carpet.
stallion,
Keep
guys.
up.
I don't
Carpet,
get what
cloudy.
you don't get about it.
Cloudy tadpole or hound that can fly.
The hound can't fly, no.
I
The-
like the cloudy tadpole, honestly. It's very
Oh.
unique.
Okay. Rome?
I think Rome will actually vote for the stag stallion creature. I've never seen one.
Shag.
Sorry, shag stallion.
Shag stallion.
That's what I would vote for as well.
Tiebreaker.
Good game.
Wait a minute.
Jir, I think you're the tiebreaker.
No, wait. What did
Dude.
Oh no. All right, Father Adras, you get the last vote. Break the tie.
I must admit, whether it is a real creature or a concoction of your own muddled imagination, I have to see what the Shag Stallion is.
Actually, I kind of want to see the carpet thing too now. Actually,
All right, Shag Stallion it is. Thanks for voting, guys. You can go to bed now,
Yes.
Tiberian.
I assume my power will be facilitating this grand summoning.
Probably. Seems like you and I are gonna have to work together as always to cast our magic spells and enchantments and sortileges.
Yes, that crest you bound to yourself seems to, I feel, more flexible, less viscous, freer. Hopefully you're able to wield me in such a state. Very well.
Oh yeah.
I look forward to it.
Okay. Tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow morning.
Very well.
You all begin to go to rest. Everyone generally sleeps. Telperion, are you guiding your trance thoughts anywhere?
oh, the usual. There's no usual. I'm going to be having curious thoughts, remembering all about Oro Junequill in her prime, and trying to remember the damage I did that day to the ranks of the Birdfolk.
Very well. Are any of you taking watches, or are you all settling in and sort of sleeping through the night?
Sleeping through the night.
Sleeping.
I'm not gonna bother with watch.
Okay. I will say, other than the fact that you feel very secure and safe here in camp, Toby Rama, your passive perception does pick up at some point when you're sleeping the sounds of approaching footsteps of two individuals. And you're able to sort of rouse, and you see the form of Minerva, flanked at her back by General Mathros himself. And as Minerva sort of folds back a flap of your tent, she gives a small smile to you, Toby Rama, as you begin to wake. He says, "You may think I was looking for my brother, but I was actually hoping to talk with you for just a moment."
Oh, I did. I was honestly expecting you to seek out Roulette, but absolutely.
Father, you have your... Yes, of course. Mathros is carrying a small satchel at his side, and kind of makes way for you all both to step out of the camp so that he can bestow a gift. You are able to walk out of the tent with Minerva, who walked a few paces away, and asks you, "Toby Rama, I fear we have not had adequate time to get to know each other. My brother speaks very highly of you, of course. I was wondering, in my conversations, it has become clear you, and my prying, if I must admit, it has become clear you carry something of unrivaled arcane exposure. It radiates magic. I was wondering if you might consider allowing me to investigate. It seems too harsh a word, but inspect, glean what I can from it. Perhaps there's some insight I might have a chance to give."
Yes, and Toby will take it from tucked under his shirt and show off the medallion. I was actually able to divine quite a bit of information about it just last night.
Fascinating. In what manner of divine magics? Divination magics, rather.
The full, I think, the full history of this item. It's what we've called divinor, a very rare metal we've seen only once elsewhere. And it seems that it's not truly metal, or at least it's not mined from the earth. It's organic in some regard. I saw them shape this from a very dark scale. And then it passed, and then they created it, and then it passed down for generations before my old friend passed it on to me.
Interesting. If you don't mind, she waves her hands in the air, traces a sigil, and you sort of see magic trail, red magic trail off her fingers as she does it. And her eyes blink open with white. And she immediately has to close them. Just something you've experienced, I think, in the past with detect magic just is blinding on this item. I have something that might offer me a glimpse of insight, perhaps no more insight than you've been able to glean. May I? And she pulls out a small spell scroll.
Toby's only on the lookout if she attempts at all to reach out and touch it, at which point he'll like step back. But if she's just reading it,
she's just holding the spell scroll in front of her, and she begins reading in a language you don't understand that sounds dark and strange. And suddenly bursting into being, would you please roll 2d6?
2d6.
Oh god, it's power word kill.
I'll do that here in purpose. A 4 and a 4.
8 spined imp-like creatures flash from embers in the space around you. And Minerva straightens up and says, "My beautiful children, I will handle this one and claim the Duchess's prize. But you, aid Bar Gulkaram's efforts with the others. It appears they have another one." And you see General Mathros, as you turn around, you see General Mathros' form shift and shed his appearance to a red-skinned, painfully scarred individual who wields chains wrapped around his face, drooped around his arms, and extending from his arms. And he raises his arms, and you see various chains that have been set around this encampment tearing into the camp, reaching through into the four inside the camp. And Minerva's form shifts and cracks and enlarges into the form of a familiar Oni Hellfiend that you have just been discussing recently. And that's where we'll call this session.
Jesus.
I had this this quick moment. I was like, she asked him. I'm like, I won't ask about insight. I trust her. Also, Rome literally just said we should be careful about who we share this with.
It's so funny because I had this instinct,
red. I used the word red, and I saw your whole body language freak out, Telperion. You're like, that's not something Minerva would do, and you're exactly fucking right.
There was something about it. Was such a weird feeling because I was just like, when she asked to see it, I was like, why would Minerva ask to come see it alone at night? That doesn't make sense. Why would my dad be with her? It was just like a lot of things all of a sudden felt wrong. It was like I was asleep, and also like It is Minerva. That was a really
Also,
good person to perceive.
This is also not like an indication that this is going to happen every time, but what I do like about it is Mordecai once, you offered to show it to Mordecai once, and he refused it. And he said, anyone that purposely seeks this out, use suspicion and caution, which is just like something that was always going to happen at some point. But
That's
it would
awful.
seem you guys are currently being attacked, although it is unique because you guys are surrounded by an army-ish contingent of a small percentage of an army, but still a large force that these people would be daring to come into. But that's where we'll pick things back up next as we begin this combat encounter.
I assume.
Also, the Duke and the Duchess, maybe?
Uh,
Or no, the
So
Count.
Count and
of note, Olandris had a Count and Contessa. She used the word Duchess,
presumably.
which I would say I would entertain the notion of ability checks to see if that has any meaning to people, but I don't think it would flag Toby's knowledge. So no check from you.
We're all asleep anyway.
I assume
Right,
that was
right.
not enough
Also-
to complete a long rest.
You guys are able to complete a long rest. I had said that before. So you guys, this is a level 10 fight. You're welcome to
okay.
be level 10.
So I didn't just waste all of my spell slots to recharge my ring.
No, you guys can engage in this with full hit
Dude.
points, full spell slots. You guys are rested functionally. That's okay. This will be.
Grant, we don't have to
refresh
dive.
level
We don't have to
10.
dive in if the answer is yes. But could I have done one final identify on the letter before I went to bed, specifically focusing on that smudge?
Like,
Just
You're
to see
able
if
to
it
cast.
had-
Yeah, you're able to cast the spell Identify, and nothing alights. Nothing. No magical sources trigger. However, by doing detect magic, you're almost innately you're kind of inspecting arcane things, so you can go ahead and make an arcana check because of the use of detect magic.
God. Fuck it, I'll throw in the +4 in there.
Okay, if that's the case, above 20 will earn you, it's not going to ruin the surprise, but it will clue you in a little further.
I don't know if we want it ruined. I don't know.
Arcana check gets you the information that 8 specific characters in, not the smudge, but 8 specific characters in this letter are not written with normal ink. They're written with fine inks that like a wizard might use for arcane spell scribing.
give him such a treat during his COVID to scan now for the next week.